solicitation of a sexual act, according to the Kane County State's attorney. Jury deliberations are underway in Michael Madigan's corruption trial. Here's AM 560's Jim Talamonte following the trial at the Dirksen Federal Building.
Judge John Robert Blakey handed the case to the jury Wednesday afternoon at the Dirksen U.S. Courthouse in Chicago. St. Xavier University professor David Parker said it's hard to say what.
You come to these settlements. Both sides say let's negotiate because juries can be wild cards. Do you really want to roll the dice here?
Assistant U.S. Attorney Amar Bachu presented the government's rebuttal Wednesday and referred to Madigan and McLean as, quote, grand masters of corruption. Bachu suggested several times that Madigan lied on the witness stand when he testified earlier this month. Madigan is charged with 23 counts of bribery, racketeering, and official misconduct in Chicago. I'm Jim Talamonte.
At 5:05, 2 are wounded following a shooting in Evergreen Park. Police say the 2 victims were found shot yesterday at a St. Mary Catholic Church cemetery at 87th and South Hamlin. A DuPage County caregiver faces charges, all following an incident at a community-based home that resulted in an older resident suffering second-degree burns. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul has charged Darnita Connor of Glendale Heights with a number of counts. Raoul's office claims Connor was a caregiver at a Ray Graham Association home in Bensonville when she failed to test the water temp prior to placing a resident in a hot shower. An Illinois lawmaker has introduced legislation that would require school districts to expel a student for at least 1 year after committing a sexual assault. Here's AM 560's Kevin Bessler.
State Senator Steve McClure says he wanted to take action after an incident in his district and was shocked that a student who committed a sexual assault was allowed to stay in class.
If a student brings a pair of brass knuckles to class, they are automatically expelled for a year. But if you sexually assault a student at school, there is no automatic expulsion for a year.
State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer says he has heard of reports of similar incidents around Illinois.
As a father of a freshman and a 7th grader, I want to make sure this does not happen and that there is proper guidance on what happens should this happen again.
Davidsmeyer says schools need to know what the expectation is, and kids need to know that they are safe, not only at school, but on the bus and after they leave the bus. I'm Kevin Bessler.
Governor Mike Braun delivers his first State of the State address to a joint session of the Indiana House and Senate yesterday, calling for cuts to property taxes, capping the annual increase for taxes to protect farmers and homeowners, and boosting retention efforts and recruitment efforts for the Indiana State Police. And this morning, a beloved Wisconsin beer maker is once again offering tours at their original facility. The operators of New Glarus Brewing made the announcement, saying their first brewery is now open to visiting guests for the first time since 2007. New Glarus Brewing was founded in 1993, makes several beer varieties, but probably is best known for the one that Illinois residents, like myself, smuggle into our state, Spotted Cow, which is only sold in Wisconsin. Bulls defense fall apart in the second quarter of a 122-100 loss to the Celtics. Blackhawks take on Carolina tonight. College hoops last night. Northwestern could not slow down Ace Bailey in a loss to Rutgers, 79-72 at Welsh Ryan. DePaul lost to number 24 UConn. UIC upset Bradley. Illinois State beat Belmont. 5:08 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk can see something different about Trump.
One word would describe President Donald Trump. One word: ready. This man is ready. He has a stoicism to him that we have not seen in his 8 years of the presidency. He has a centeredness to him, a purpose, a clarity of thought, a complete command of the room.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Itching to swing that 9-iron but don't want to wait until the spring thaw? You're in luck because the Tinley Park Golf Show is here to help. Golfers of all ages and skill levels are invited to come out from January 31st to February 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center for 3 days of golfing fun, including a driving range, aisles of newly released equipment and apparel from the Chicago area's top retailers. Test your skills by competing in the Guess Your Best Drive and Longest Putt competitions, where the winners receive a $1,000 prize. We'll also have a demo area with top manufacturer representatives from Callaway, Wilson, Touredge, Cobra, Mizuno, and Cleveland. Don't forget to stop by our famous 19th Hole Bar and Lounge to catch a live telecast of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Get your tickets online today at visittinleypark.com/golf show. Again, that's visittinleypark.com/golf show.
Well, it was during a 10, 12-inch snowstorm, and we probably shouldn't have been delivering, but we were delivering.
Ben and Arvid Huth from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
And they get to the end of the driveway, and it's a long driveway, like a quarter mile long, and it hasn't been plowed. So what they did was they carried that table a quarter mile to the house, delivered it through 9 inches of snow, and then carried the old table, customer's old table, a quarter mile back to the truck. That is just doing whatever it takes to get it done. Yep.
See more at pennymustard.com.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
It's 5:11. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Accident on the Ike inbound at St. Charles. I-57 outbound shutdown between 159th and 167th. Separate fatal accident involving 2 semis and other vehicles happened earlier this morning. All traffic is forced off at 159th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Here's Steve Williams.
Increasing cloudiness, couple of showers around late this afternoon. A milder air increasing the risk of some ice jams on area rivers throughout early next week. High today 52, rain tonight low 38. Rain and breezy tomorrow, the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
27 at O'Hare, 30 at Midway, 20 in Aurora, 35 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Does pain in your life impact everything you do, like walking, climbing stairs, even getting out of your car? You don't have to live like this. Hey, Amy Jacobson here with a solution. Joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back due to arthritis or an injury can be eliminated. How? Well, with the help from our good friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Everyone's talking about it. And they're right here in Chicago under the guidance of Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Here's how it works. QC Kinetics treatments prompt your body to heal and restore damaged joints. Joint pain doesn't get better with time. See if you're a candidate for these life-changing treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Saturday appointments available. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
Chicagoland certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns discusses taxes in retirement.
Most people are paying more in taxes and keeping less of their money to live and do what they enjoy. That's why we've put out the retirement tax bill calculator online. You can see with your own eyes just how much you might be overpaying. It's a valuable tool, $500 value, but we made it free for you to view and run your own numbers at mvpcfp.com. That's mvpcfp.com.
To run your retirement tax bill calculator, go to mvpcfp.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Pluto TV.
For over 23 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has offered boilers, water heaters, and exhaust venting to commercial mechanical contractors. They aid in the selection of standard and high-efficiency hydronic system equipment for replacement or new construction. From schools to churches to high-rises and hotels, Applied Mechanical provides high-quality, cost-effective Camus boilers and water heaters in many of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Mechanical design firms trust Applied Mechanical to support them by specifying the size and type of boilers to best match a building's load profile for the worst of Chicago weather conditions. Engineers and contractors can be confident that they'll experience trouble-free operation for the next 15 to 20 years. Applied Mechanical Sales ensures their boilers are properly installed and operate at peak efficiency long after the initial startup. Go to appliedmechanicalsales.com to schedule a site visit and boiler replacement assessment. That's appliedmechanicalsales.com. A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88. And multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning. Use my Dan Proft expression. Good morning, Chicago and Detroit. Oh, sorry. Just kidding. Charles Thomas in for Amy Jacobson.
Good morning. Good morning. Can't really say it's really a good morning.
No.
But it is morning, and it's always good to see you.
Yeah, brother, I always enjoy when we fill in for Dan and Amy because I get to see you as well. And, you don't love me anymore. You go off into, the warm weather, and I have to be stuck here.
The warm
in
weather?
the Chicago cold. Yeah. You know how it is.
I know how it is.
But Charles, I woke up this morning to some unfortunate news because I was in bed last night by 7:30, and I woke up and I had heard that an American Airlines flight that had 64 people on board had crashed into a helicopter. I believe they're classifying it as a Blackhawk. The Blackhawk had 3 soldiers that were on the helicopter. At this time, I do believe as I was driving in, I heard a news report saying they might have had 18 fatalities at this moment. But here's some reporting on what actually transpired late last night.
The approach, I'm stumbling over my words here because this is just so staggering that there was a midair collision involving a commercial airliner. Commercial flights are equipped for ages with a system called TCAS, Traffic Collision Avoidance System. It tells the pilots in the cockpit how to avoid other airplanes nearby. It is a system that came about because of midair collisions with commercial airliners and small general aviation aircraft, commercial airliners, and helicopters. It tells the pilots there's traffic ahead of you, climb now, descend now. This would be an incredible lining up of the holes in the Swiss cheese, which is the saying in aviation, the gaps in the safety chain in aviation that this happened. And now investigators have an incredible amount of work cut out for them to figure out how a commercial airliner in the United States in 2025, when the pilots are incredibly trained, the technology is incredibly sharp, collided with what is apparently a military or government helicopter. Nobody else uses the Blackhawk. It is really something else. I'm just stunned.
Now, some reporting said that this crash happened about a half mile away from runway 33. And Charles, you're old enough to remember, not me. I was a little baby. January 13th, 1982, there was a jet that crashed into the Potomac. And I looked up the video, and I mean, it was icy conditions. It looked like they had daylight, though. I think the enemy of the search and rescue is it's so hard to search for somebody when you don't have daylight and not a lot of light. What do you say?
Well, yeah, that, and of course the weather. I mean, the weather, apparently it was a mild evening weather-wise in the Washington area, but it had been very, very cold, and the water, of course, hasn't warmed, so survival in those conditions is going to be difficult. But I think it needs to be pointed out as well that some reporting that I have read that has been provided to us by the news department here is that this was a training flight.
Yeah.
The helicopter, I should say.
Yeah.
This was a training flight for, I would assume, an inexperienced pilot if he or she is being trained. So there's so much that has to be sorted out here. Yeah. And it's going to take a while, quite frankly.
I also listened to some audio. I didn't have enough time to get it into Quinn, but one of the CNN hosts was trying to put the blame on the Trump administration. It's like, with 9 days in of Trump being in his inauguration, since the inauguration, and, I guess the FFA director or whatever their title was called resigned before Trump got into office. So, and then we didn't have Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, was just sworn in Tuesday.
Right.
I mean, imagine this is one of your very first things that you have to deal with coming in as the incoming Secretary of Transportation, Charles.
Yeah, and they also are blaming the Trump administration 10 days old, 11 days old for the price of eggs.
What?
I mean, the political conversation is certainly out of control. It's been out of control for at least, what, 8 to 10 years since Donald Trump came down the escalator. The political conversation in this country, driven by media, is out of control. And I think this is a morning at the very least in which we need to cool it in this country.
I mean, people woke up this morning or late last night, and some are probably just finding out now that they've lost a loved one. I mean, can we just chill with the politics?
Yeah.
And just deal with, people having to, their whole lives have been changed, Charles. I mean, kids are waking up finding out that their mom, their dad will no longer be with them, Charles. And we immediately want to shift to politics in times of crisis when people have lost everything. Why? And to your point, Charles, I mean, you've been in media. Why? Why does media fan those flames?
Oh, I mean, the obvious reason is ratings. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, they want horse to ride, and they figure that this is a story that's going to be around for the next few weeks at the very least, and they're going to ride it as best they can, and they want to. But here's the problem, John. They want to fit any news story into their narrative.
Yeah.
The narrative takes control of the story and the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem. And sometimes I sit back and I read the news, particularly the mainstream media, and I wonder, who are the editors these days? I mean, the editors used to be in the newsroom. They
had experience too, right?
Not only they have experience, but they knew what we were there for. Yeah. They understood how we fit into into democracy. We had to place ourselves above narrative and stick to the facts. And they don't do that anymore. They're allowing people to become editors in newsrooms who allow this stuff to go on.
Yeah.
And, that is the biggest problem. And to fix it, we're going to have to go back really to the journalism schools in this country, the people who are training journalists. Is
that possible, though? Is it possible to fix it right now with... I mean, especially, you got to understand, Charles, now, I mean, clickbait, when people can make money off of clickbait, I mean, is that possible?
I don't know, because the media is so decentralized now.
Yeah.
And we have so many different sources. We have the so-called influencers.
The new media.
The new media is so decentralized. I don't think we figured it out yet.
Yeah.
We haven't figured it out yet, but we've got to get back to journalism again. Journalism in the United States right now is dead.
Yeah.
Come on. It just does not exist. I don't know.
That's an understatement.
I went to Mizzou in the early 70s when the Watergate scandal was gearing up, and we had a different attitude about what we were supposed to be doing as it relates to democracy in this country. And it was a great era, but all that, I think, at this point is lost.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Charlie. Let's go to the phone lines. Charlie from Evansville. You want to talk to us about, there are two different type of Blackhawk helicopters? Go ahead.
Well, listen, I was just doing a little bit of research on Google, so I'm not sure if it's accurate, but they talk about the average Blackhawk has a 450-gallon fuel tank. It can go up to 1,200 nautical miles. So, listen, I just found that off Google. But here's what's interesting. The price for the Blackhawk, an Army Blackhawk, according to Google, is $5.9 million.
Jeez.
The Air Force cost is $10.2 million. Yeah. Now, think about that. You don't even really need a human being inside of that vehicle. You would think it would have every sensor available. I'm going to say something, and it's probably going to be. Listen, I'm convinced there's going to be some sort of DEI situation involved with this.
Yeah.
How can you What's that?
Yeah, I mean, we I think it's truly too early to
way
assess
too
that.
early for that one.
And you know what? Thanks, Charlie. You know what? Listen, I'm not a fan of DEI, but one of the things, Charles, I've been saying it on Black and Right. I've been saying it on Detroit's Morning Answer. We got to get to as it relates to DEI. Not everybody that are put in places of position and power are DEI hires. I think that's the flip side of everybody coming down on DEI. Listen, I call it die along with Dan Prof. Anybody that implements DEI, their companies die because they didn't earn it. DEI, you see what I did there? They didn't earn it. But we can't just simply say everybody is DEI who get, especially if they're minorities. I mean, we're two minorities here. We just can't simply say that everybody that's in these positions of power are DEI, right, Charles?
Well, I mean, I'm not good. I thought about that, quite frankly. I said, I wonder who this pilot is and what their particular background is, whether it's a race situation or a gender situation. Right. Or a youth situation,
Correct.
A very young person. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know at this point.
I think it's too early.
We're way too early to get into that conversation. But there you have it. Even we're conditioned a narrative. Yeah. You see, there goes the narrative again. When we automatically begin to think about these particular narratives about situations that come up every day. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Right. I'm guilty of it because I watch the same thing that our caller watches.
Right. No. I thought about it.
Yeah. But I'm saying, wait a minute. I've kind of backed off and said, wait a minute, that's ridiculous at this point.
And I think if it was, it further shows why these programs don't work. You listen to the
There's
morning
only
hour.
one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Jeff Tishlar, author of High Tech versus the Highest Tech, has shared his knowledge of the spectacular things that we see in nature as opposed to what man has created and how this should inform one's faith. Jeff served on the mission field all over the world and has created this highly illustrated and concisely written technical book. The easy-to-read format is understood from the youngest reader to the most intelligent and mature readers. Google and Amazon book reviews include, "This is the best little book I have ever read. It is amazing how much information is in this book." And a beautifully written and illustrated book. The author has a gift for describing complicated technical details in a very understandable style. This book is available now in paperback on Amazon. Search High Tech versus the Highest Tech by Jeff Tishlar. 100% of proceeds go to missions. That's High Tech vs. the Highest Tech by Jeff Tishlar.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up, Charles, we're going to, I don't know if you saw the RFK Jr. Confirmation hearing. I want my Twinkies and my onesie. We'll talk more about that, Charles. Now into the newsroom with Mike Scott.
John, actually, just want to make sure that our listeners know there's really only one Blackhawk helicopter. The Blackhawk has different variants for the Coast Guard, for the Air Force, for the Navy. But they're essentially, Sikorsky makes one Blackhawk model, and they modify them for use with different armed forces in the United States. So as far as we know, there's really only one type of Blackhawk helicopter.
Good to know. Thanks, Mike.
And we'll keep our eyes on several details that are emerging this morning after a night of desperate searching in the frigid waters of the Potomac River. No word on confirmed fatalities after a passenger plane collides with a military helicopter and crashed.
We're cooperating fully with the National Transportation Safety Board in its investigation and will continue to provide all the information we can. Our cooperation is without pause, and we want to learn everything we can about today's events. That work will take time.
Robert Isom says there were 64 on board American Eagle flight number 5342. Audio from air traffic control at Reagan National describes how that regional jet collided midair with the chopper.
It was probably out in the middle of the river. I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone.
Matthew Capucci of the Washington Post has an apartment that overlooks Reagan National.
Things suddenly got very quiet at first. At this time of night, you typically hear tons of airplanes take off and land, and suddenly things got very quiet, and then it was just sirens nonstop.
It all happened then as that American Eagle flight was on approach at Reagan National. U.S. Figure Skating says a group of athletes and coaches were on a flight that crashed into the Potomac. Mark Mayfield has the latest with that part of the story.
The organization released a statement last night saying a group of young athletes, coaches, and family members were returning from the National Development Camp being held in Wichita, Kansas. The statement said the organization was devastated by the unspeakable tragedy and that it would release more details when available. I'm Mark Mayfield.
We're also hearing Russian skaters were on that flight too. Wichita Mayor Lily Wu spoke with reporters this morning.
We really want to ask each and every Wichitan, Kansan, and American to pray for everyone involved in this incident, whether involved in the incident in D.C. or those who are helping with the rescue efforts.
This morning, Senator Jerry Moran talked with reporters. The Kansas senator chairs the Commerce Subcommittee on Aviation.
It is certainly true that in Kansas and in Wichita in particular, we're going to know people who are on this flight, know their family members, know somebody. So this is a very personal circumstance.
And Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy briefed reporters on the incident.
I spoke with President Trump and his team in the Situation Room. I had a conversation with Secretary Pete Hegseth as well, and then with the Kansas delegation and the mayor and others in leadership.
So this morning, flights in and out of Reagan National are on hold as search and rescue operations continue. The president and CEO of the Metropolitan Washington Airport Authority said this morning the airport would likely be closed through at least 11 o'clock this morning. In other news, we're following President Trump has signed another executive order calling for preparation of a facility at Guantanamo Bay to be used for deported migrants. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s first confirmation hearing is over. Senator John Cornyn of Texas says he likes what he heard.
He told me he's pro-safety and not anti-vaccine.
President Trump's picked ahead. The Department of Health and Human Services faced tough questioning about his views on vaccines and abortion. Hamas is planning to release 3 Israeli hostages today. It's all part of phase 1 of the ceasefire and hostage deal. Federal Reserve leaving interest rates unchanged. The Wednesday announcement comes after the Fed cut rates 3 times last year. Here in Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson this morning is under stiff scrutiny over reports accusing him of not properly reporting valuable gifts that he received on behalf of the city.
And we'll make sure that our team gives you the access that you need so that you can see the gifts that are given to the city, not to me.
The gifts include Gucci bags, designer cufflinks, Mont Blanc pens. Johnson called the report a mischaracterization. Fired Chicago Public School CEO Pedro Martinez back in court for a hearing about keeping a temporary restraining order in place. Martinez says the TRO is needed for him to do his job. Ultimately, both sides agreed to another status hearing on February 13. Chicago sports. Bulls lost to the Celtics 122-100 last night. Blackhawks visit Carolina. College hoops. Northwestern lost to Rutgers 79-72. The news is a service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Order online at balanceofnature.com and use coupon code Chicago to save 35%. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder sees more double standards in Washington.
People who do not like Donald Trump, Democrats, people on the left, are outraged. They argue that it's one thing to pardon people who've not committed anything violent. It's another thing to pardon people who attacked police officers. Isn't it fascinating how all of a sudden people like that are now Dirty Harry.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With all the bugs and viruses going around, you want and need a healthy immune system. The stronger your immune system, the stronger your body fights and defends against that. And that. And whatever that is. So get Virago. Virago Immune Enhancement Support is a unique blend of 23 nutraceuticals. Ingredients that have been available as individual nutraceuticals, but now working in synergy to maximize their effects to the immune system. Recommended by medical physicians and other healthcare professionals in the Chicagoland area, Virago is the nutraceutical cocktail for immune support. Developed to strengthen your immune system for quick response to immune challenges, for short and long-term immunity, for antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti-allergy effects. It even protects your heart, kidneys, and liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Order online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. It's the go-to choice for immune enhancement. That's myvirago.com. And use coupon code PROMO to save 15%. Quality ingredients for optimum health. Trust Virago, inspiring healthy choices.
5:42, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Just a couple of trouble spots. Bad accident outbound Ike. 2 right lanes blocked between York Road to right before St. Charles. So your delay starts at York as you travel inbound to the accident site at St. Charles this morning. And we've just heard from Illinois State Police that I-57 has been reopened from that much earlier fatal car accident and then also involved a semi between 159th and 167. So right now, I-57 as of now has been reopened. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Expect today to be mostly clear through the midday. Chance of clouds in the afternoon and an increasing chance of rain overnight. 28 right now at O'Hare, 32 at Midway. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Morning Answer with John and Charles. Charles, this audio with not only just the air traffic controller, but there's also audio that I want to play right after this of a man who was waiting for his wife. Here's the audio between the air traffic controller and the pilot.
Fire command. The accident happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. It's east of the approach end of runway 33. It was probably out in the middle of the river. I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone. So I haven't seen anything since they hit the river, but it was a CRJ and a helicopter that hit. I would say maybe a half-mile off the approach end of 33.
No, Charles, now, there was a camera that actually picked up the midair collision. And imagine there were people that were there. You see, there were, if you go on X, there are a lot of people who were filming it. And one guy was just, I think he just lost his mind completely because he actually saw it, and he posted it to X. Imagine seeing this, Charles.
I haven't seen that video yet. Yeah. But I just can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Now, here's something I couldn't imagine.
I'm just praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak. That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
Can you show us a text message that you got from her?
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered. That's when I realized something might be up.
Charles, imagine that's you and you get that, and then you hear the news report that a flight or an airplane had gone down, and you knew you were in touch with your wife, and then nothing, radio silence.
And you don't know if it's the flight that...
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with. That's exactly what we're dealing with. Let's go back to the phone lines. Amish Texter, welcome to the Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning.
John.
Morning.
Got a little perspective on this. I was actually flight engineer school, Navy, and P3 Orion. I was flight engineer, middle seat. And we were, you got to do simulators first, right? But we were on our first landing with a Nugget pilot. He actually was kind of the bustiest pilot in the simulator, like the other dude better. But anyways, so the instructor pilot turns to me, says, look, you're going to be the primary eyes on this because he's going to not be paying attention to what he's doing. He's just trying to land. I'm going to be instructing him, so we're counting on you, right? Now, we also had a guy in the back, actually off the other flight engineer plus another guy that's observer. We got parabolic windows. But anyways, So I knew it was my primary responsibility. So as we're going on approach, I'm calling out the air traffic around. And this is daytime. This is over the St. Johns River. But I'm telling you, man, aircraft and a river and trees blend in. So anyways, this was a Navy blue little private plane. He's flying down the river from Jacksonville heading south towards the airport, flies right into, there's a runway exclusion zone trapezoid that goes out where you're not allowed to enter without air traffic control, So there's obviously an accident here. I'm sure if this wouldn't be like a training command, like with my experience where a Nugget pilot, like first time, this is probably like an area command and guy's already probably gone through flight school, been approved and everything. And this is probably as he's, transitioning into his squadron. But anyways, as we're going down, I called out this traffic 3 times and no one's paying attention to me. Finally, when we start getting really close and I'm like, this does not look good, I grabbed the instructor pilot on the right's collar and I point across space. I go, and you got this guy right here at 430 low.
Right.
He grabs power, takes over. We came within 225 feet. We were on our descent. This guy never deviated, and I could still see his face to this day. Wow. Looking over his shoulder, trying to lean into the passenger seat as if that's going to help him. Right. And I knew it was going to be close, but not 225 feet, which was confirmed by the air traffic tower. So I can imagine being at night, and obviously this helicopter was in the wrong place.
Man, thanks so much, Amish. I really appreciate it.
I wonder in the year 2025, how much control of the aircraft is on the pilot or the computers, right, if you will, because I don't have a better word.
Well, guess what, Charles? John from Peatone's going to let us know. John, welcome to the Morning Answer with John and Charles.
There. Well, you understand that a lot of these military aircraft don't necessarily have or use TCAS. and air traffic control was trying to vector or
Stop.
coordinate
What's
that. Yeah, go ahead.
TCAS? What's TCAS?
That's the avoidance system that the aircraft has. Now, the commercial airlines generally all have that. Not a lot of military does. So air traffic control tried to coordinate that helicopter behind that aircraft. That was said last night. And the Blackhawk came up and said that they could not see up or down to see that airplane. So inexperience, it could be part of it. Did they have TCAS? But if they don't have TCAS, you better believe. And the Blackhawks I've been in didn't have TCAS.
Wow.
It's just a product of military.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
I would think that's going to happen now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's going to be a full investigation into what transpired. Thanks so much for calling us, John. Let's go to Craig from Mount Greenwood. What's up, brother?
Good morning, John. Good morning, Charles. Really appreciate you guys when you do a program.
Thank you, man.
Really good. And hey, I got 2 points. One is I'll share a phrase that I took and coined because it applies to the situation. But first, let me tell you what I think is a possibility. The radical Muslims that actually do suicide bombings and all that kind of stuff, we've had them infiltrate into our military where they're there for a while. Then they come out and they actually attack our military, our soldiers and that. And there might have been something like that. They really need to investigate it real closely, see what really happened. All right, here's my little thing I coined that applies to me. Where leftists have sway, tragedy is not far away.
Well, Craig, I think speculation as to what happened is probably a little too early right now. I think I agree with you on that part where a full investigation has to be done, and it has to be done ASAP. And one of the good things about Sean Duffy, I know him. He's a former congressman from Wisconsin. He's gonna bring the full weight of the government to make sure that this gets solved. And you heard what the guy, John from Peatone said. I mean, you can't track no TCAS on Blackhawk. So I mean, if that's true, and John sounds like he knows what he's talking about, could this have been an error that occurred? So we'll see. We'll find out, brother. Thanks, Craig.
I agree with that.
Let's go to Bob from Buffalo Grove. Bob, the resident, you know everything about helicopters. So what are you going to tell us? What are you going to tell us, Bob?
Okay, I've flown into that airport many times because my daughter lives just south of the airport, and I've seen the video from off in the distance that they've been playing on TV. Here's my take on it. The plane was on the glide path to land at the airport, so he was doing his job. Why was the helicopter flying into the plane? You could actually see the lights on both planes.
Yeah.
So to me, the helicopter got in the way and was flying into the commercial airliner. And why was he flying over Reagan?
Right. That's a good question. And if you saw the video, it looks like it came from the side of the plane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the plane was just doing the normal approach south. It looks like south to north in the glide path. So why? I just don't understand why the helicopter was where it was. I mean, you wouldn't have helicopters flying over O'Hare, would you?
Right. No. Listen, we'll get to the bottom of it, Bob. I think that's what the American people, I think the families who've lost loved ones, they're going to want to know what actually happened. And I think we'll get to that. Thanks so much, Bob. Hang together. Exactly. All the pilots are going to come out now and show off their expertise in what transpired today. Charles, come on, Charles. You just whatever, Charles. If you saw that RFK committee yesterday, I'm telling you. So what? I'm a nerd. I'm one of those nerds. So you know what I did? I went back and watched confirmation hearings of the Biden administration, the Obama administration. One of the things that I listened to how they questioned each nominee from both sides of the aisle. And you know the thing I saw, Republicans, they kept it strictly policy. All they wanted to know was where these people stood in their policy. Democrats, depending on who they were, not like Rachel Levine. I mean, the Republicans didn't come after Rachel Levine at all. But Democrats, they unleashed. And this is just a dog and pony show right now. You learn nothing. They pose the questions and they don't let the nominees answer the questions because they don't want them to answer the questions. They want them to look stupid because they know people are tuned in watching. But I was happy to hear RFK is going to save the Twinkies.
I don't want to take food away from anybody. If you like a cheeseburger, a McDonald's cheeseburger, a Diet Coke, which my boss loves, you should be able to get them. If you want to eat Hostess Twinkies, you should be able to do that. But you should know what the impacts are on your family and on your health.
I missed the Twinkie part. But he said we're not going to get rid of Diet Coke. We're not going to get rid of Twinkies because guess what? We do want to make America healthy again. But you know, one of the things that I saw, nobody challenged the prospect of getting people healthy. All they wanted to talk about was vaccinations, pharmaceuticals, because these people are bought and paid for by these pharmaceutical companies. And I know this. I remember when we were doing the heroin reform in the state of Illinois, House Bill 1. And we ran up against the pharmaceutical company. Dude, I'm not going to lie. The skin stood up on the back of my neck because I thought these people were going to, commit great harm because we were trying to basically tell them you're feeding too much drugs to our kids. And I'm telling you, I felt like they wanted to harm us. I really did. But they didn't care about the substance of what RFK Jr. was talking about as it related to our kids. Our kids are so sick today. With all these vaccinations, he said he's not anti-vax. I mean, he did say he was, he didn't like the vaccinations previously, but I think he's evolved because he wants to get in there and change what's happening to our kids. All these kids on Ritalin. I mean, you want to know why mental health has spiked and gone through the roof? Because we've allowed our kids to just, as it relates to all of this medicine and all these vaccines. Guys, I'm telling you, I want RFK Jr. I know Mike Pence and a group of pro-lifers are saying, but what's his name? RFK Jr. said, listen, I'm going to follow Trump's agenda. And when you look at it, listen, I'm telling you, when I went back and watched all of these nominees who were Democratic nominees, every single one of them, if it was Obama, if it was Clinton, if it was Biden, they continue to talk about, well, President Biden wants us to do this. President Obama wants us to do this. We're going to follow the agenda. But as soon as somebody says that they want to do something as it relates to Trump, you're going to do the will of Donald Trump and not the will of the American people? Come on. The hypocrisy is just, it's outstanding, the hypocrisy. And we got to push back against this because, I want Trump to have his full cabinet ready to go because I really believe these lefties are so crazy. They're willing to do anything. If they will indict a former president, if they will attempt to assassinate a former president, and I'm not saying the elected officials, but this ideology that they carry around with, if they're willing to do this to a president, I'm telling you, what's next? What's next? That scares me. That scares me because I have 5 beautiful daughters. I have family. I have friends. We are not your uncle's America. We've walked away from that. And we have, and that's one of the reasons why I really love the cabinet picks that Donald Trump is picking. Because Trump is truly trying to make us remember who we are as Americans, this idea of what America is. And we cannot run away. We cannot fall away from that. Because if we are ever going to be a force again in this world, we need strong leadership. We have to make tough decisions. So many people, because we've created this government largesse, and people have lived for decades dependent on government. Now that it's being taken away, oh, Trump's the racist, Trump's the xenophobic, Trump's this, Trump's that. No, he's bringing us back to a place where we remember. I spoke on my Detroit One and Answer radio show. Ronald Reagan, 1-point-something trillion to 2.9 trillion at the end of in 4 years. And now we're at $36 trillion as it relates to our national debt. How does that happen? Because we don't have fighters. We don't have people willing to do what it takes to get it done. I'm one of those fighters. I know Charles Thomas is one of those fighters. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fight for this nation because this nation is worth fighting for. You are worth fighting for. Now on to the newsroom with Mike Scott.
This is a Fox News alert. They keep looking for, but not finding. Survivors near Washington, D.C. I'm Dave Anthony. After an American Airlines regional jet about to land at Reagan National Airport last night collided in midair with a U.S. Army Blackhawk helicopter. They exploded and went down into the Potomac River.
One of the most tragic things was I saw them pull a body out. It was a flag draped. So I assume that was one of the military personnel.
He lives nearby. There are reports of multiple bodies recovered. No one found alive yet. There were 64 people on the plane, 3 on the helicopter. Fox's Rebecca Castor close to the search in the river.
The water temperature is at about 40 degrees. Overnight, it was about 5 degrees colder. So when we're talking about water temperature that is that cold, hypothermia sets in about 15 to 30 minutes. And experts say, once that hypothermia sets in, the body really has about an hour and a half before it shuts down.
The plane was coming in from Wichita. Senator Jerry Moran is from Kansas.
We're praying that our responders are safe and the folks who are on that flight are recovered.
Some of those on board were members of the U.S. figure skating team, athletes and coaches flying back from the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Wichita, Kansas. President Trump posted on Truth Social, why did the helicopter go up or down or turn? And why didn't the control tower tell it what to do? Calling it a bad situation that looks like it could have been prevented. Hamas has set free 8 more hostages from Gaza as part of the ceasefire agreement.
Agam Berger was the first Israeli released this morning. The 20-year-old surveillance soldier was seen walking, waving and smiling as she entered a car belonging to the Red Cross.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has a second hearing today on his nomination to lead Health and Human Services.
We will make sure our tax dollars support healthy foods.
Kennedy may spar with senators again over his past comments skeptical of vaccines. There are also hearings today at the Senate for Trump nominees for FBI Director and Director of National Intelligence. America's listening to Fox News.
28 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Brandon Johnson under scrutiny over a report that accuses him of not properly reporting valuable gifts he received on behalf of the city.
And we'll make sure that our team gives you the access that you need so that you can see the gifts that are given to the city, not to me.
The lack of clarity also extends back to former Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Mayor's also accused of denying access to investigators from the Inspector General's office to a City Hall room where gifts are stored. The family of a woman who died on the roof of a Waukegan hospital last week is suing high-profile attorney Ben Crump, announcing Chelsea Adolphus's family has filed a wrongful death suit against Vista Medical Center East.
On the basis of premise liability, negligence, and medical malpractice.
The suit accuses the hospital of that malpractice. A Vista spokesman disagrees.
We're confident that the way the staff handled this situation was 100% appropriate. The police were notified. The code went out over the loudspeaker.
The Lake County coroner says Adolphus died of hypothermia. In other news, we're following on WIND Chicago this morning. An investigation is underway after an elderly man was killed in a drive-by shooting on the city's south side in the 1400 block of West 90th Street. Jury deliberations are underway in Michael Madigan's landmark corruption trial. Assistant U.S. Attorney Amar Bachu saying Madigan abused the public trust. Bachu said U.S. Representative Nikki Budzinski testified last month about Madigan's board recommendations when she was then Governor-elect J.B. Pritzker's special assistant.
To have her say that she was there and she gave serious consideration to Madigan's recommendations, it's just another example of, kind of that inside power club.
State Representative Reagan Deering says almost everyone was excluded from that club. Jurors finally began deliberating yesterday after about 27 hours of closing arguments. Bulls lost to the Celtics 122-100. Blackhawks take on Carolina tonight. College hoops tonight. Last night, Northwestern lost to Rutgers 79-72. And the news is a service of Valdicast Windows for the discerning homeowner looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement service. Contact Valdicast Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella-certified contractor, Valdicast.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time in the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected! Also, you forgot to renew your website domain and now you're in a bidding war!
You should see the look on your face!
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room and now everything smells weird!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Welcome back to Ask Hassis. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Will you be my Valentine?
Really?
I can't stop thinking about you.
Wow.
I'm smitten with employee-free showrooms.
Oh.
And free next-day delivery.
So, you're professing your affection for Hassis Mattress.
I'm head over heels.
It's hard to compete with hassle-free mattress shopping. Our employee-free showrooms save you so much money.
Tell me more.
Get a Sealy Posturepedic Golden Acres A Queen mattress. Others sell it for $12.99, but Hassis has it every day for $9.93. Plus, way low pricing on Beauty Rest and Serta Perfect Sleeper, and free next-day delivery, too.
My heart's all aflutter.
And through Monday, Hassis Mattress will give you an additional $248 in instant savings on any Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, or Serta Perfect Sleeper.
You complete me.
You're gonna love shopping at Hassis Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free Chicagoland showroom near you at Hassis.com. Hassis, employee-free since 2014.
6:08, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Trouble spots in Gurnee, an accident. Washington and Greenleaf. Woodridge, an accident. 75th and Route 53. I-80, Grundy County. Eastbound between Manuka and Shepley Road. Accident with a left lane block. Big delays this morning northbound on Lakeshore Drive, right at Bryn Mawr. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Increasing cloudiness, couple of showers late this afternoon, and a high of 52. Periods of rain tonight, low 38. Rain cooler and breezy for tomorrow, the high 41. Clouds on Saturday, the high 38. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
28 at O'Hare. Your next news update at 6:30 with breaking news as it happens. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Morning Answer with John and Charles. Charles, brother, just left me, man. Left me out there on an island all by myself.
It's a little early for me. You're used to this, right? You're used to this.
I am. I'm used to it now.
Not. And I had a little episode, but I'm cool now. I'm straight.
Yeah,
I'm straight.
And I don't apologize for my rant because, guys, I love this country. I really do. It's afforded me so many great things. Even in spite of what I've been through in my life, this country is everything. I mean, that's one of the reasons, Charles, you see so many people wanting to come to this country because of the greatness and the exceptionalism that America is.
Absolutely. And I feel absolutely the same way. And, I try to impart that, not only to my offspring and grandchildren and anyone who wants to listen, that we have a lot to be thankful for in this country, and we are blessed to be here at this time.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going waist deep in the Rio Grande River, and they're crossing the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
To come to this country, this racist, sexist country.
Right.
What, really? You
Right.
come from the Congo all the way to Mexico to go waist deep in the Rio Grande River to get here?
Yeah.
To get here, this is where you want to be. And
Right.
we got to keep that in perspective.
And you know why, though, Charles? That light, that beacon, that city on a hill.
Mm-hmm.
That's the great thing. Anytime I hear people talk, I get it, man. America has had its blemishes. It's done some crazy stuff, but we've also righted so many wrongs. Charles.
Yeah, and that's the thing about you talk about the history of our country, and we have people doing the CRT business or whatever.
Yeah.
And they talk about the negatives.
Right.
We can teach the same facts about our history and come up with a great story.
Yeah.
Positive story.
Well, Charles, one of those stories I believe is RFK. They wanted to make light of, his drug abuse, and a lot of the things that he's been through during his life. But I want to play a couple of clips from his confirmation hearing, and I really want to get your take. There's a couple of things that I have here, and first of all, I wasn't a big fan of RFK Jr. because I do believe he has some communistic belief systems. But he won me over yesterday. I'm not going to lie. He really won me over yesterday. And I like how he had this to say about his Democrat friends.
And all these Democrats are opposed to me for partisan issues. They used to be my friends. Agreed with me on all the environmental issues that I've been working on for my whole career. Now they're against me because anything that President Trump does, any decision he makes, has to be lampooned, derided, discredited, marginalized, vilified.
We need to move on.
Yeah. Charles, these were his friends. But now that he's, under the Trump umbrella, he's vilified.
John, they were my friends. They were my friends.
Yeah.
Until, I really became woke.
Yeah.
I woke up and suddenly they're not my friends anymore.
Yeah.
And it's why? Why? Because of some Democrat, Republican madness. And, I have people come up to me, they say, Charles, man, you're a Republican now. I said, no, I'm not a Republican now. I said, but I can say, Joe Biden talks about MAGA Republicans.
Yeah.
I would say I'm probably more MAGA.
Are you a Trumplican or as Rob Blagojevich calls himself?
Well, that could work too. But I think if you talk about a MAGA Republican, you talk about me, I'm probably more MAGA than I am Republican.
I like to think I had something to do with that. 14-something years ago when you first met me. And no, I'm just kidding.
No, but I think we had something to do with each other.
Yeah.
And we sort of met in a middle place.
Yeah.
And we understood where each other was coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming a little blasé now with this conversation, but I mean, going back to the original point, common sense prevails.
Yeah.
And the original point being, I love this country.
Yes.
I feel blessed to be here. I do not want to go anywhere else. And the goal has to be to make this place great again.
Yes. Yes. Exceptional, Charles. Ron Wyden, the senator from Oregon, man, I watched how he treated Biden nominees in the same committee, and he was just, the world is not. I mean, they treated Pete Buttigieg like he was like the crown prince, who may even run for Senate in Michigan. Pete Buttigieg and Tony Dungy, Charles. There may be a Pete Buttigieg and Tony Dungy setup for
and where?
Michigan.
Really?
For the Senate, yeah. There's a lot of talk about that.
I didn't know Tony Dungy lived in Michigan now.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But here's Ron Wyden on vaccines.
I support the measles vaccine. I support the polio vaccine. I will do nothing as HHS secretary that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking either of those
Anybody
vaccines.
who believes that ought to look at the measles book you wrote saying parents have been misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease. That's not true.
Charles, Trump won the election. Trump sets the agenda of what he wants coming from HHS. He chose RFK Jr. to lay out and to administer the Trump agenda. Every single cabinet person that's been confirmed have done this for presidents. Why is this different?
This is what democracy looks like. What's happening right now in terms of Trump's appointments? The people voted for him. They voted for him, and he was quite clear about what he was going to do. And the majority of Americans, not only in the Electoral College, but the majority of Americans in the popular vote, or I should say the majority of those who voted, certainly most of those who voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So let's go with his agenda and see how he does. And in 4 years, if he hasn't accomplished if the voters are dissatisfied, then they'll do something else.
Well, Pocahontas chimed in as well.
You financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You have said
you're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy...
Hey, Charles, guess who are the top 3 recipients of money from pharmaceutical companies from 2019 to 2020?
Is she one of them?
Bernie Sanders, 1.4. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren, $821,000. He just called her out because they're bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical companies.
And who's the third?
Mark Kelly, Democrat, Arizona. Yeah, go figure. Let's go back to the phone lines. Where are we at? Ed from Oak Brook. Hey, I'll be there today, later tonight.
Oh yeah, it's a great place to be, Oak Brook. It's like the jewel of DuPage or maybe the whole state. But anyway, my question to you guys, and I love the way you guys are going back and forth, is what is the deal with Elizabeth Warren? Do you really believe she believes what she's saying, or is she just putting on a big show? Because when I listened to her, I said, this can't be real. She's supposed to be a senator. She's supposed to be smart, but she acts like well, I was going to say jackass, but I don't know if you could say that on the radio. But she acts like that. Do you really believe? Do you really think she believes what she's saying?
I'm going to tell you, and Charles, you could probably attest to this as well. Most of these politicians are actors. Most of them get force-fed information, and then they have no thought of their own. They're not critical thinkers. They're dumb as a box of rocks, and they'll say whatever's put before them with whoever feeds them the most money. That's what happens.
I'll ask you another question.
Yeah, go right ahead.
My question then is, if you're a normal person, and I think most of your listeners right now are probably normal, why would anyone vote for someone like that? Just looking at her voice, her mannerisms, her lies in the past about being an Indian and shortchanging other people that could have qualified, why would a normal person vote for that?
Well, you've answered your own question. Thanks so much for calling.
You got to give her credit. She's consistent.
She is consistent. Consistently stupid.
Right.
That's what she's consistent. I want to feel like Sean Thompson now. Bought paid for. you know, that's what he does. But that's what happens, man. Let's go back to the phone lines. Roger from the South Side. Welcome to the Morning Answer.
Hi, guys. Love it when you both fill in.
Thank you.
I love Dan and Amy, but just love it. Especially you, Charles. I know you're sitting back there quiet. I'll make these fast and then I'll get off. I think, our between our Senate and our House, watching all these different confirmation hearings, okay, two things we got to solve. Way too many, Charles, no offense, way too many senior citizens up there. And then you look at the, 75, 80 years old. And then you look at the net worth on these people. And what you just mentioned, John, how unhinged these people are coming.
Yeah.
I would almost lay whatever money I have, which isn't a lot, that these people are already talking to their attorneys. They're coming for these people. They're either going to be forced out in primary or they're going to be charged. And then the last thing, I'll let you guys go. Charles, what the heck's going on out there in Dalton? Settle those people.
Oh, we got that coming up.
Yeah, we got that coming up. You stay tuned, man. We got some stuff that we can say about Dalton and Thornton Township
that Dan and Amy can't talk about.
Dan and Amy can't say, but we will say them here this morning. So you stay tuned.
All right, Roger.
I think Charles needs to show up out there with the, with his best $10,000 suit on, and Charles Thomas back in the game, seeing what's going on with his people out there. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot, Charles. I was told I made the post that you and I would be filling in. Doing the show today, and somebody commented, 2 white guys, great. Well, I have been known to be blackish, so that's neither here nor there. But Charles, I want to continue. When we come back from break, I want to continue going through a couple of these audio clips as it relates to what RFK had to endure yesterday. You listen to the Morning Answer. We'll be right back.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
With over 50 years of precision tooling, that's a lot of job shop work and custom parts. And it's why Brewster Machining is the go-to CNC turning and machining company in Chicagoland. If you have a custom project, whether it's a single prototype or a short-run production of a few thousand pieces, give them a call today for your free custom quote. 630-876-1661. That's 630-876-1661. Or visit BrewsterMachining.com. That's BRUCHER Machining.com. They also provide heat treating, balancing, plating, and surface coating, welding and fabrication, plus project management. Brewster Machining guarantees to consistently deliver high-quality parts and solutions on time for reasonable prices. Yeah, everyone says that, but the proof is in the tooling. Stop by to meet their team of seasoned pros and tour the facility located in West Chicago. To learn more about how CNC machining can turn your tough project into an operational reality, contact Brewsher Machining today for your free custom quote, 630-876-1661.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Donald Trump is barely over a week into his presidency and is taking flack from the commentariat over his statements about Egypt and Jordan taking in displaced Arabs from Gaza and about releasing arms to Israel it paid for. Some have claimed he's pouring fuel on the fires of the wars he was expected to quell. This is all wrong. When Trump put maximum pressure on Iran and made clear the U.S. would stand with Israel in his first term, there was peace. It was Biden's presidency that gave militancy its gas and green light. By softening on and enriching Iran, by expressing weakness toward Russia, through callousness toward Americans being killed in Afghanistan and allowing the Taliban to take it over, and finally, by sending mixed messages regarding the U.S. and our relationship with Israel. Strongly siding with allies like Israel and pressuring those who have long lived in the shadows of safe harbors for militancy like Egypt and Jordan is a big difference from the last 4 years. And it was the last 4 years that brought war. I'm Seth Leibson.
Does pain in your life impact everything you do, like walking, climbing stairs, even getting out of your car? You don't have to live like this. Hey, Amy Jacobson here with a solution. Joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back due to arthritis or an injury can be eliminated. How? Well, with the help from our good friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Everyone's talking about it. And they're right here in Chicago under the guidance of medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Here's how it works. QC Kinetics treatments prompt your body to heal and restore damaged joints. Joint pain doesn't get better with time. See if you're a candidate for these life-changing treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Saturday appointments available. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Going to be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time in the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
28 degrees at 629 on AM 560 The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. More than 30 bodies have been pulled from the Potomac River after last night's collision between a passenger plane and a military helicopter near Washington, D.C. Fox's Rebecca Castor is in Arlington, Virginia this morning.
The water temperature is at about 5 degrees colder. So when we're talking about water temperature that is that cold, hypothermia sets in about 15 to 30 minutes. And experts say, once that hypothermia sets in, the body really has about an hour, hour and a half before it shuts down. So really, time is of the essence. And unfortunately, this morning, we have no reports of any survivors being pulled from the water. Emergency officials said the wind was some of the biggest challenges they had to face last night. We had wind gusts at some points going up to 25 miles per hour.
The plane, operated by American Airlines subsidiary, was traveling to Reagan National from Wichita, Kansas. CEO Robert Isom of American Airlines.
We're cooperating fully with the National Transportation Safety Board in its investigation, and will continue to provide all the information we can. Our cooperation is without pause, and we want to learn everything we can about today's events.
Again, there were 64 people on board the aircraft flight, 3 on board that Blackhawk helicopter. On board the flight, U.S. Figure Skating says a group of athletes and coaches were on board. That Young Athletes and Coaches organization were all returning from the National Development Camp in Wichita, Kansas. Also on board, former Russian world champion skaters Yevgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov. The married couple won the World Figure Skating Championship in pairs in 1994. The massive search and rescue effort continues. Boats this morning are scouring the frigid waters. Washington, D.C. Fire Chief John Donnelly.
There's currently about 300 responders working. We have boats from all throughout the region, police and fire boats.
Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy briefed reporters on the incident.
I spoke with President Trump and his team in the Situation Room. I had a conversation with Secretary Pete Hegseth as well, and then with the Kansas delegation and the mayor and others in leadership.
We'll follow developing and breaking details on this story this morning as first light hits in Washington, D.C. after that Blackhawk helicopter and American Airlines flight collide and crash in Washington, D.C. In other news, Hamas has started releasing more hostages to Israel. The Palestinian militant group handed over a female Israeli soldier to the Red Cross in northern Gaza today. Meta is agreeing to pay $25 million to settle a lawsuit with President Donald Trump over his suspended accounts. In other news we're following this morning, Mayor Brandon Johnson is under scrutiny over reports accusing him and even Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who came before Brandon Johnson, of not properly reporting valuable gifts received on behalf of the city. The family of a woman who died on the roof of a Waukegan hospital last week is suing. High-profile attorney Ben Crump announcing that Chelsea Adolphus's family has filed a wrongful death suit against Vista Medical Center East. Chicago sports, Bulls fell to the Celtics, 122-100. Blackhawks take on Carolina tonight. College hoops, Northwestern shut down by Ace Bailey and Rutgers, 79-72. The news, a service of almostfreeteeth.com. What if you could save an average of 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back? Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelby. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelby can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelby?
Just send them a text.
Text CARE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelby. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CARE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CARE to 200-300. That's CARE to 200-300. CARE to 200-300.
Itching to swing that 9-iron but don't want to wait until the spring thaw? You're in luck because the Tinley Park Golf Show is here to help. Golfers of all ages and skill levels are invited to come out from January 31st to February 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center for 3 days of golfing fun, including a driving range, aisles of newly released equipment and apparel from the Chicago area's top retailers. Test your skills by competing in the Guess Your Best Drive and Longest Putt competitions where the winners receive a $1,000 prize. We'll also have a demo area with top manufacturer representatives from Callaway, Wilson, Tour Edge, Cobra, Mizuno, and Cleveland. Don't forget to stop by our famous 19th Hole Bar and Lounge to catch a live telecast of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Get your tickets online today at visittinleypark.com/golf show. Again, that's visittinleypark.com/golf show.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Identity Theft Awareness Week is here. There's a victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second and will fix identity theft guaranteed or your money back. Plus, plans include the $1 million protection package with up to $3 million in coverage for the most comprehensive plan. Take control of your identity with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year with my name Clay as the promo code at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
6:37, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Audible. Why not tap into your well-being with Audible audiobooks, podcasts, and originals? Spend some time with expert insight. Start listening free with a 30-day trial. Audible.com. Metro UP West Line passengers, trains inbound to the Ogilvie Transportation Center are delayed because of crew shortages this morning. Trains will originate from Geneva. Trains are again delayed along the Metro UP West Line this morning. Gurnee, Stern School Road and Dilly's Road report of an accident, and I-80 solid traffic due to an accident, left lane block eastbound between Manuka Road and Shepley. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Partly cloudy this morning, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain showers late in the afternoon, highs in the mid-50s. Clear and 28 right now at O'Hare, 31 at Midway, 20 in Aurora. Right now, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy is briefing reporters on the crash in Washington, D.C. last night, and with the recovery effort into this morning, we'll have breaking details should they become available between now and 7 o'clock. Up next, Chicago's Morning Answer continues on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by TJ Stearns Financial Planning. Certified financial planner Tim Stearns holds a weekly discussion of the financial challenges to secure retirement. Listen Saturday at noon for Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Morning Answer. Charles, former ABC 7 reporter, 70,000 years in the media business?
70,000 and counting. I mean, this is now 70,001 first year.
Yeah.
In broadcasting, journalism.
You've seen a lot, man.
You know, I thought about that the other night. I don't know why I had a flashback of things that happened, but over the last half of the 20th century, I think I covered most of the major stories.
Wow.
Man, the
Chicago Fire? Is that
now, that was a little bit before me, but I can remember being, flying a helicopter, going to the 3 Mile Island nuclear accident. I think that was in 77, 78, something like that. And then to the Mount St. Helens eruption, volcano, Oklahoma City bombing, both O.J. trials, the criminal and the civil. I went to California and basically lived there during both those trials. Every major political convention, covered the Michael Dukakis presidential race, flying with the press
in the
corps.
tank.
I mean, I thought about it. I said, man, you saw a lot, and did a lot of stuff, and not to mention all the things that happened in and around Chicago during the past 30, 40 years. Man, wow. It is. It's something to. People keep telling me I need to write a book.
I told you that.
I know, but
just do it. Make the leap.
All
right.
I could.
Or whatever. Let's go back to the phone lines, Charles. Jordan from Antioch. Welcome to the Morning Answer.
Good morning. Yeah, if you go back to that clip of Elizabeth Warren screaming at RFK Jr., you're going to hear the quiet part out loud, what she said. RFK Jr. wants to stand in the way of those of us who want to vaccinate your children. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that's not your job.
Correct.
That's my job.
Correct.
My job is to vaccinate my kid and to do the research and to talk to the doctors. And I'll go through a doctor's like I go through a deck of cards until I find the one that's gonna be straight with me to find out what's beneficial for my kid.
Correct.
The problem is, and you made the comment, right, that they're probably on the phone with their lawyers, and they probably are. But they probably got another phone call, too, from a guy who had a black bag who dropped off some money to them from a pharmaceutical company or wherever funding their campaign that said, listen, we gave you a bunch of money. You better deliver on what we paid you for. These people are so corrupted by power and money that they can't see they can't go back.
Well, they don't care. They don't care, Jordan.
You're 100% correct, and they don't care because they don't want to care, and it's not profitable for them to care.
Yeah.
And that's I don't agree with a lot of that RFK Jr. has done or said, but I do agree with where he's at right now. And people also have to remember, no matter what he said in the past, he's beholden to the guy who's in that office who put him that seat.
That's right.
And that guy is going to make sure he's doing what he wants him to do. And I have no hesitation. I have I have all faith in President Trump that if RFK Jr. starts to slide back to where he might want to be rather than where Trump wants to be, Trump will get rid of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be the end of it.
Well, Trump. Hey, Jordan. Trump has shown in his last term he'll get rid of somebody in a heartbeat. He doesn't care.
Absolutely. And these people, I love when they get on these things because when you see Elizabeth Warren doing what she's doing and these other Democrats, they are so this leftist disease that's in them. They've been in it for so long that they've been in this rut, and their emotions start to come out, and those walls start to come down that normally they give a press conference and they protect themselves in their actual beliefs, and they get so emotional like a child that it all comes out. Like, go back and listen to that. She says it right there.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. wants to stand in the way of those of us that want to vaccinate your children.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's
Keep
true.
saying it. Keep
All
talking
right.
out loud.
Thanks, Jordan. Let's go to Rich from Rich. Welcome to the Morning Answer, Rich. John and Charles.
Hey, good morning, John. Good morning, Charles. How you guys doing this morning?
Doing well, Joe Pesci.
You know what I take away from these hearings is that they don't actually ask questions and listen for answers or what the nominee is going to actually do. They just attack him and they tell him what he should do and what should be done. And the one thing that gets me, and nobody can answer this question, is why does this Haruma always say it's her responsibility to ask questions? And she asks these two stupid questions of why have you ever asked for sexual favors? And have you ever made a settlement for asking for these favors? What kind of questions are those to ask when you're talking about different subjects?
Well,
I mean,
look
somebody needs to answer that question for me, and why they even have her ask those questions.
Yeah, that's a great question because she's normally the person that opens up. Because think about it, every single Republican gets that question, but not Democrats. She doesn't ask that question to Democrats at all. I've yet to hear her ask that question to any Democrat nominee. Nobody but Republicans. Rich, that's how they roll. Thanks, Rich. Let's go to George from Naperville. George.
Yes, good morning, John and Charles. I think the left is just doing all they could to protect our junk food rights.
Right? Yeah. I mean, think about it. You heard what I forget who it was. It was one of the senators. He talked about how when he was in the State House doing this confirmation, he was in the State House. Whenever he would visit a school, he would immediately go to the wastebasket because he wanted to see if these kids were eating. And he said none of these kids were eating the food, Charles. None of them. They were just dumping it in there because kids just weren't. The food's nasty. This is part of Michelle Obama's initiative, right, Charles? As it relates to the food?
Well, yeah, wasn't she trying to change the way kids eat at school?
Yeah.
And they're dumping it, I guess. But I think the general idea, make America healthy again.
Yeah.
I think that's what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like what make America great again. What's wrong with that?
Right.
But they'll find a way.
Yeah.
They'll find a way to criticize it because, number one, because it's the other party who nominated RFK Jr., and number two.
But he's their guy. He was their guy when he was a Democrat, though, Charles.
Pardon? Yeah, well, you know, when he was a Democrat, he was their guy.
Well, he still is a Democrat.
Yeah, right. Just like Tulsi.
Yeah.
They're going to oppose her because she abandoned the party.
Yeah. But Charles,
but not because of what she represents in terms of how she will advise the president of the United States as it pertains to intelligence.
But like he said, he just wants to make America healthy again.
My understanding is that the executive order that was issued today, which I haven't seen, but I've read a summary.
Well, let me ask you this then, because you keep citing the Trump administration and you're just going to follow what they say. Is that what you're doing? You're just a rubber stamp for them in this position? So anybody, so it doesn't matter that you're before us. It could be anybody coming before us as long as they're a rubber stamp for this administration and disregarding your beliefs and what you think. I guess my question to you is, if it really is fundamental to what you believe, how do you live with that? How do you address those issues as you're moving forward,
you want me to
knowing
answer
that
the
it's going to harm
question,
Americans? Yeah.
You want me to answer the question?
No, I'm asking you.
But
okay.
Shut up.
President Trump has asked me to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. And I'm
So
in a
is that the
unique
only reason why
position.
you're at HHS? Is that the
Excuse
only
me?
reason why then you're at the HHS to address that one issue?
President Trump has asked me because I'm in a unique position to end that. And that is what I'm doing. And if we don't solve that problem, Senator, all of the other disputes we have about who's paying and whether it's insurance companies, whether it's providers, whether it's HMOs, whether it's patients or families, all of those are moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. Our ship is sinking.
Charles, I mean, tell me, where is he wrong? If we do not solve this epidemic as it relates, I mean, from birth to what is it called, Medicare Advantage. Think about that. I mean, what's happening to this country as it relates to sickness, as it relates to cancer, as it relates to you name the disease. Something happened. So something happened in this country, especially when we went from what I think it was 2 to 3 vaccines to now. How many are there now, Charles?
Countless, almost. This is such political. Is it the phrase political theater?
Yeah.
It's not. The HHS secretary.
Yeah.
I mean, every HHS secretary nominated over the past for as long as there's been a department, basically wants to do the same thing.
Right.
Make America healthy again. What is it about?
Except when you look at they may want to do that, but they give leeway to the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, as it relates to these vaccinations, the pharmaceuticals. I mean, Charles, think about the number of kids that are on these psychotropic medications. Think about the number of kids that are on these, taking these Ritalin and Xanax. And I mean, they just, from the moment a child exhibits some behavior that you and our parents said, they'll grow out of it. And then they let us outside, and we were out there, at least me, riding my bike, going out there, sitting there until the streetlights came on. These kids don't do that today.
No. I think he wants to address that. He wants to address that phenomenon. He wants to address the fact that so much of our population is obese.
Yeah.
And if it's just HHS embarking on an information campaign to keep that in front of us constantly.
Right.
That's a great thing, and that's what I think he wants to do.
Yeah.
But to oppose him just because he was nominated by Donald Trump, that's the ridiculous part of this, and that's where our country wastes a lot of time.
But Charles, did you hear me in the first hour that we came on air? Not one of these Democrat U.S. senators even addressed or wanted to address what the substantive points that RFK Jr. was making as it related to this epidemic of childhood obesity. Not one of them addressed that. They targeted him on the vaccines. He wrote a book about measles. It was all about that. But on a substantive argument about these kids who are dying early, getting diseases a lot earlier than we did previously, no one wanted to address that, Charles.
No, because they don't have any real position that anyone would respect.
Yeah,
that. And so, I mean, it's political theater. I would hope that the money from the big pharma doesn't influence the decision-making process here so much that the guy's nomination is declined, or refused, or defeated.
Yeah.
But I mean, Pete Hegseth was an even bigger example of how big money was overcome in that situation. So there's hope. There's hope for RFK Jr.
I agree.
It's going to be difficult.
I think the most difficult one is going to be Cash Patel, in my opinion. Cash and Tulsi Gabbard. I think those are going to be the two most difficult nomination picks to get through. Let's go to the phone lines. Vince from Huntley. Welcome to the Morning Answer.
Hey, listen, you gotta use Bill Blaster as an app and start calling these senators. Just because they're not your senator doesn't mean you can't call them. They're questioning the nominees. You have every right to call them.
Hey, Vince, I'm gonna tell you this though, as somebody who was formerly elected, on the issue, if you can't vote for me, I didn't listen to you. I only listened to the people that could vote for me.
You have 1,000 people calling these guys, and you're blowing up their lines. It's kind of aggravating, So,
and I'm telling you though, but Vince, what I'm telling you, what they're going to do, they're going to take your name and look to see if you vote for them. If you don't vote for them, I'm just letting you in on behind the curtain.
Don't give them your name.
Yeah.
But you're saying intelligent things on the radio. If you call them and you tell them those same intelligent things that you're saying right now,
yeah,
you get through.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I'm seeing it happen.
Yeah.
War room posse calling all the time.
But I'm going to tell you a more effective way to do it. Show up at their offices in their district, and show up at their offices in D.C. and then those calls and emails.
I disagree. America First is watching.
Yeah.
And America First is donating to America First, and those donations are going to go against you, and you're going to be primaried. That's definitely happening. That's definitely happening. Thank you, Vince. We got to go to break.
Thanks so much for calling. But that's definitely going to happen, Charles.
Yeah.
That is definitely going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people primary. Mitch McConnell, if he doesn't run again, Murkowski, Collins, they're all going to be. We're going to find people to run against them immediately. And I can name a few others, but I won't, Charles. You're listening to The Morning Answer. John and Charles. We'll be right back.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer. Are you an administrator, staff member, or parent volunteer at a private school? Would you like to grow your current enrollment and welcome new families to your school? If so, we want to tell you about a great opportunity to help increase enrollment and promote your school to families all across Chicagoland. It's called ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. They work to connect private schools with new families who are looking for discounted first-year tuition. In exchange, your school will receive a marketing campaign to help grow your enrollment. Chicagoland School Vouchers does all the work to bring new families together with your school and help you expand your reach. They've been working with schools across Chicagoland for over a decade. As the demand for school choice grows here in Illinois, your private school needs to take advantage of this program. To learn more, just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Donald Trump is barely over a week into his presidency and is taking flack from the commentariat over his statements about Egypt and Jordan taking in displaced Arabs from Gaza and about releasing arms to Israel it paid for. Some have claimed he's pouring fuel on the fires of the wars he was expected to quell. This is all wrong. When Trump put maximum pressure on Iran and made clear the U.S. would stand with Israel in his first term, there was peace. It was Biden's presidency that gave militancy its gas and green light. By softening on and enriching Iran, by expressing weakness toward Russia, through callousness toward Americans being killed in Afghanistan and allowing the Taliban to take it over, and finally, by sending mixed messages regarding the U.S. and our relationship with Israel. Strongly siding with allies like Israel and pressuring those who have long lived in the shadows of safe harbors for militancy like Egypt and Jordan is a big difference from the last 4 years. And it was the last 4 years that brought war. I'm Seth Leibson.
Does pain in your life impact everything you do, like walking, climbing stairs, even getting out of your car? You don't have to live like this. Hey, Amy Jacobson here with a solution. Joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back due to arthritis or an injury can be eliminated. How? Well, with the help from our good friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Everyone's talking about it. And they're right here in Chicago under the guidance of medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Here's how it works. QC Kinetics treatments prompt your body to heal and restore damaged joints. Joint pain doesn't get better with time. See if you're a candidate for these life-changing treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Saturday appointments available. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Pluto TV.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. No one survived the Midair crash near Washington, D.C. I'm Dave Anthony.
We are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation.
After an all-night search in the frigid waters of the Potomac River, where both the American Airlines regional jet and the U.S. Army Blackhawk helicopter it collided with went down after an explosion.
We have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter.
Washington, D.C. Fire Chief John Donnelly. There were 3 soldiers on the helicopter, 64 people on the plane that's now in 3 pieces in the water.
This is devastating. We are all hurting incredibly.
This American Airlines CEO Robert Isom, the flight was coming in from Wichita, Kansas. Some of the passengers were members of the U.S. figure skating team. The organization put out a statement that the athletes, coaches, and family members were returning from a development camp following U.S. figure skating championships in Wichita. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says they're trying to figure out what went wrong, why they collided on a clear night.
This was not unusual with military aircraft flying the river and aircraft landing at DCA.
The plane was just about to land at the time. President Trump posted on Truth Social, "It's a bad situation that looks like it could have been prevented." This was hours after the president signed his first bill since returning to the White House, the Laken Riley Act, named for the Georgia woman murdered last year by a man in the U.S. illegally. The law expands the ability to deport illegal immigrants charged with various crimes. Now, President Trump also says as immigration raids continue nationwide, arresting people here illegally who've committed crimes, he's going to send some to Guantanamo.
We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people.
Hamas has set 8 more hostages free from Gaza as part of a ceasefire. The first one was an Israeli soldier, then 2 Israeli civilians, and 5 residents of Thailand. America's listening to Fox News.
28 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Brandon Johnson is under scrutiny over a report accusing him, and before him, Mayor Lori Lightfoot not properly reporting valuable gifts received on behalf of the city.
And we'll make sure that our team gives you the access that you need so that you can see the gifts that are given to the city, not to me.
The mayor is also accused of denying access to investigators to a city hall room where gifts are stored. Fired Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez was back in court for a hearing about keeping a temporary restraining order in place.
I don't see the probability of a strike. I really don't. I don't see it. Again, I would ask the question, what are you going to strike about?
A brief hearing was held yesterday at the Daly Center. Martinez saying the TRO is needed for him to do his job.
They will not actually sign a temporary agreement, like which they used to do, because why? If the TRO is lifted, they want to go back and revisit everything. That is their strategy.
Later in the day, CTU updated negotiations, saying Martinez, in their opinion, is the problem.
He's provoking confrontation with a statement like that because we all know that that's not true.
Stacey Davis Gates also wants new leadership to counter what she says are disastrous changes coming from Washington. The family of a woman who died on the roof of a Waukegan hospital last week is suing. High-profile attorney Ben Crump announcing that Chelsea Adolphus's family has filed a wrongful death suit against Vista Medical Center East.
On the basis of premise liability, negligence, and medical malpractice.
The Lake County coroner says Adolphus died of hypothermia after she was locked out of the hospital on the roof of that medical facility. Bulls fell to Boston 122-100. The Blackhawks take on Carolina tonight. College hoops, Northwestern lost to Rutgers at Welsh Ryan 79-72. The Fighting Illini back in action tonight, visiting Nebraska. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder sees more double standards in Washington.
People who do not like Donald Trump, Democrats, people on the left, are outraged. They argue that it's one thing to pardon people who've not committed anything violent. It's another thing to pardon people who attacked police officers. Isn't it fascinating how all of a sudden people like that are now Dirty Harry?
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room, and now everything smells weird.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:06. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on AM 560. For our friends in Woodridge this morning, key route 75th westbound between Route 53 and Green Road entirely shut down due to a head-on collision that's being investigated this morning. And folks who take the Metro UP West line, irregular service and big delays, all due to crews not showing up to work this morning. That's on the Metro Union Pacific West line trains inbound to the Ogilvie Transportation Center. Tri-State northbound between the Reagan and the Ike is slow. DuSable Lakeshore Drive on the brakes at Bryn Mawr, and the Bishop Ford slows up at 115. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Increasing cloudiness, couple of showers late this afternoon, and a high of 52. Periods of rain tonight, low 38. Rain cooler and breezy for tomorrow, the high 41. Clouds on Saturday, the high 38. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
28 degrees, clear skies at O'Hare. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning answer. John and Charles. Charles Thomas, former ABC 7 reporter extraordinaire. Charles, you're not doing podcasting anymore, right?
No, I'm taking a little time off from that.
All right.
You really need to start.
Oh, hey, settle down. I don't have time. I'm doing radio 6 days a week now.
You do it more, man.
No. I got too many kids. I got too many kids, too many mouths to feed, man. That would take away so much. But Charles, I don't know if you heard about what happened with DOGE and Elon and what they've found as it relates to government waste. And I saw a tweet where somebody, they alleged that it was Elon Musk. But did you hear about the condoms that they were sending to Gaza?
Isn't that amazing?
$50 million. There was sushi. They're spending money on sushi. They're spending money on the USAID. They get about $40 billion. They have $520 million of that going to a consultant, ESG in Africa. Just this wasteful money.
You're tasked with this. This was for DOD and DHS, according to President Trump.
Sorry, wrong. I accidentally hit the button. But what's happening with DOGE, I personally believe, and I made a post about it last night, every state house across this country should institute a DOGE in government.
Absolutely. And I think that's the next big thing.
Yeah.
It'll probably start in the red states, but it needs really to go to the blue states as well. Everybody gets a DOGE.
Everybody.
The other thing about DOGE as well is that once they get to really going after some of the so-called NGOs, the grants to the NGOs, we're going to feel it in blue states, particularly the so-called non-government organizations that depend on federal money to operate locally.
Yeah.
And those are organizations that many of which are used for political purposes in local jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And they keep, and a lot of people, they work for these places. They have to get these grants.
Yeah.
And that stuff is on the bubble right now.
Well, Charles, joining us to discuss this and more is Ryan Silverstein. He's a JD candidate at Villanova University and a fellow with Villanova's McCullen Center for Law, Religion, and Public Policy. Ryan, welcome to the Morning Answer. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Good morning.
When I first heard of Doge, because I'm not gonna lie, I did buy some of the Doge coin when it first came out. I made quite a bit of money off of it too. And but when I heard it as a government function, Department of Government Efficiency, I said to myself, "Oh gosh, another layer of government." But first of all, this is temporary. Why do you think? How will Doge? And when you look at Trump's executive orders, is there a synergy there? Is there a road that connects that you believe would bring more efficiency to the government?
Yes, there is. There were a series of 4 orders that were signed that I think synergize very well with DOGE. Right, at the end of the day, because DOGE is only a temporary committee, they can't enforce most of the regulations and policies they propose, so they kind of rely on the president to do that. Now, one of the big things that makes our government very inefficient is the federal bureaucracy. It's bloated. It's full of career employees who think they're better than all of us. That's just the truth, right? And DOGE, these orders allow DOGE to kind of like rein in that administrative state, right? For example, their first order was a hiring freeze. And, firstly, it sucks that all of these people, especially these law students, right, lost their jobs in DOJ. It sucks. But at the end of the day, when you're President Trump and you run on the literal promise of making government more efficient, you can't do that if you're hiring more people before you determine what is and what isn't working in the federal bureaucracy. So it sucks, but it makes total sense.
So do you think that with Trump, and then you heard, I believe it was Senator Durbin and Senator Chucky Schumer criticized Trump's ploy to remove there are 2 million people that would qualify to take the early retirement. How would DOGE play a part in that?
Yeah, so DOGE would play a part in that because DOGE, they're probably looking at, hey, who's efficient and who's not. They've already canceled over $400 million in government contracts, and they're taking a look at probably, what bureaucrats are actually doing a good job, right? And this is actually part of one of the other orders. President Trump, he signed 2 orders drastically expanding Schedule F. If you don't know what Schedule F is, it's a policy that removes removal protections for federal employees, right? This was done in his first administration, but unfortunately it was never fully implemented because it was implemented very late in his first administration, and President Biden revoked the order before Schedule F was fully implemented. But now President Trump put it back into action and expanded its scope in 2 orders to, firstly, all career workers, right, all policy workers, and it was also expanded to senior career service officers. The Career Senior Executive Service, right, CES officers, who historically have also had these removal protections. Now, what's notable is these removal protections from the executive, right, to me, they were blatantly unconstitutional because there's only one person who actually has the executive power, and that's the president. And that's why the left is losing their minds, because they're believers in these technocrats who are just untouchable. This career service who serve the country and the president, even though historically and realistically, these career bureaucrats have actively worked to subvert Republican presidents' deregulatory agenda. That's the real reason why the left loves these people.
How will DOGE affect local agencies, either NGOs or federal agencies in local jurisdictions like, let's say, Chicago?
So I think the big way DOGE is going to affect it is by recommending grants be cut, right? We already saw the president sign a different executive order, which, cuts, which is, a federal funding freeze. Now, the president revokes that order. But I think DOGE is going to systematically go through these grants to local NGOs and nonprofits and cut those that are very wasteful. And I think that's a really good thing because, and you previously mentioned this, these NGOs, these nonprofits at the local level, they're basically leftist activist causes, right? Mm-hmm. It's as if the Heritage Foundation is being funded by the federal government.
How do you think there are so many federal employees out there, either locally or working and living around Washington? How do you think that's going to affect the economy at large if that money is removed from the economy?
Honestly, the economy might take a hit because at the end of the day, when you fire 2 million people, right, that's a lot of people to fire in a very short amount of time.
Wow.
And if you fire more than 2 million people, which I think the administration is going to do, that's going to have drastic effects on the economy. But fortunately, I don't think it will affect the national economy substantially. I think it will affect the economy of Washington, D.C. a lot. Something that's notable is the collar counties of Washington, D.C. are some of the wealthiest counties in the United States. And there's a reason for that. All the lobbyists and the rulemakers, they all live there.
Yeah. Ryan, one of the things that I really love about DOGE is that I believe it will paint a picture to the American public of just how much wasteful spending is in a lot of these, we can't call them budgets anymore, these CRs. And, I think about having a national debt at $36 trillion. I mean, I don't know a state that doesn't have unfunded pension debt liability. There's just so many things that they have, right? Do we know the true cost? Is DOGE working on this? The true cost of all of these DEI programs throughout the federal government?
So I actually don't have an answer to that. What I do have an answer to is that DOGE, they canceled, I think, $181 billion in government contracts towards DEI initiatives, and multiple DEI officials have been fired, and federal bureaucrats are working to hide DEI now in the federal government from the president by renaming the programs and the officers.
That's how we do it. Wow. Now, I found this guy on TikTok. He calls himself the DOGE update guy. He came up with 10. I'm just going to listen to a few. I really would love to get your take, because now everybody's getting in on the action as it relates to what the work of DOGE is doing. I really hate that Vivek is left, but I think he's moving to a more important position of running for governor of Ohio. But here's the DOGE update guy.
Well, good morning, fellow taxpayers. I'm back with the next 10 items that the DOGE, and that's the Department of Government Efficiency, is getting ready to cut, and it's going to give us more savings. And we're going to have to scratch our heads a little bit over these next 10 because these are absolutely ridiculous. All right, so number one, the National Bubble Wrap Stress Relief Study. We were wasting $1.4 million annually to study whether popping bubble wrap would actually reduce stress. It turns out that it does, but we don't need to spend any money on that. You can do that yourself. All right, program number two, the Bureau of Mailbox Feng Shui. I don't even know what the hell that is, but it was costing us $900,000 a year. All right, program number three, that is going to be the Federal Balloon Animal Training Academy, costing us $2.3 million annually, and taxpayers have been funding how to teach clowns to fold balloons into animals for...
I think that's perfect, Ryan. How to teach clowns. I think that's what's happening on the federal government level, right?
Yes.
I mean, think about that. Think about the where we spend money. I mean, you every CR has some money going to the humanities, something arts and humanities. This, as if we need it. I personally, I want to see financial health come to not just the federal government, and I think DOGE will have a huge part of that success. What say you, Ryan?
I think DOGE is going to play a huge part in that. There's a reason that liberal activists are already suing to try and prevent DOGE from doing its job, because DOGE is going to gut the federal government of all the waste that benefits the left.
How about state governments? Money from the federal government is usually distributed first to the states. The states would take a huge hit, particularly, and in a place like Illinois, where we're already in huge debt, to withdraw federal funds, that to me could conceivably be fatal in a place like Illinois.
I mean, it probably could be, but I would say it depends on the programs that DOGE withdraws funding from. I mean, for example, I don't think DOGE is going to cut education funding by a lot for state and local governments, right? I think what they would target more is programs like food stamps, for example. I think the federal government would be less likely to bail states out like Illinois and try and force those states to balance their budgets.
Yeah. Ryan, one last question. Do you think after this DOGE sticks around, or you think they try to make this some permanent form of government?
I mean, I think they'll try to. I think the president is going to try and get Congress to create an actual department. But we'll see. Only time will tell.
Well, I'll tell you this. It can replace the Department of Education. I think that'll be a good place to start. You want to, think of the billions of dollars that the Department of Education's wastes. Ryan Silverstein, JD candidate at Villanova University and a fellow at Villanova's McCullen Center for Law, Religion, and Public Policy. Thanks so much for joining us on The Morning Answer.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Charles, I got a lot of grief when I made that post about, every state should have a DOGE. You would think that people would want to know where their money's going, how it's being spent. I have called for a fiscal audit of Illinois money, but nobody wants to do it.
I think the people want to do it.
Yeah.
I think people do, but I think the gatekeepers, the politicians, in those in each jurisdiction, whether they're Republican or Democrat, they don't want that because they depend on many of these NGOs, particularly the Democrats, depend on these NGOs to really be their political foot soldiers these days.
Yeah. Why do you think that, though?
Why?
Because
it's an easy way to get
it
money.
skirts the law too. They're able to skirt the law from a lot of the from a political perspective.
Well, if you notice every 4 years when Illinois governors run, they always come up with their crime violence prevention programs.
Yeah.
We've talked about that on this show, that they come up with violence prevention programs. Pat Quinn famously did it, and got in some degree of trouble for it. And then you notice that J.B. Pritzker did it during his last re-election campaign, came up with this violence prevention effort. Well, that's a way to funnel money to those people who are going to either support him or just remain silent, those activists in the communities who run these NGOs, not-for-profits. Yeah. They get money so they either don't criticize the governor or they support him outright. And that's how they funnel money to people. So these NGOs, you got to watch them very carefully. That make sure that they're not political fronts. Yeah, and that's how they get government money for their campaigns.
Right. I want to go really quickly back to the RFK because I wanted to play this earlier, but I thought Senator Tom Tillis summed up that committee hearing perfectly.
I was in a judiciary hearing this morning. It's very clear to me that some of these nominations are going to be shirts and skins. So no matter what you answer in the affirmative, they're going to ask you one more question so that you won't be able to answer in the affirmative. That's just the way the game gets played when we have nominees like yourself. So I think you're handling yourself well.
There it is.
There it is.
Listening to the morning answer.
Shirts and skins. That's
Johnny
a good way of
Jaws.
putting it.
Yeah.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Keene Jr. of the Mail House, Inc., a family-owned and operated digital print mail house with a specialty in political advertising and a customer of Signature Bank. We knew that getting a loan to buy our business wouldn't be easy, so we turned to one of our trusted friends for a referral. She told us about the outstanding level of customer service her business received at Signature Bank since becoming one of their first customers in 2006. Today, we couldn't be happier. Not only did Signature help us finance the purchase of the mail house, but they supported our growth as we modernized our operations in mailing as well as from traditional to digital printing. If you're looking for a great bank to grow your business, take a look at Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare Midair and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-7718. 800-525-7718. 800-525-7718.
With over 50 years of precision tooling, that's a lot of job shop work and custom parts. And it's why Brewster Machining is the go-to CNC turning and machining company in Chicagoland. If you have a custom project, whether it's a single prototype or a short-run production of a few thousand pieces, give them a call today for your free custom quote. 630-876-1661. That's 630-876-1661. Or visit BrewsterMachining.com. That's BRUCHER Machining.com. They also provide heat treating, balancing, plating, and surface coating, welding and fabrication, plus project management. Brewster Machining guarantees to consistently deliver high-quality parts and solutions on time for reasonable prices. Yeah, everyone says that, but the proof is in the tooling. Stop by to meet their team of seasoned pros and tour the facility located in West Chicago. To learn more about how CNC machining can turn your tough project into an operational reality, contact Brewster Machining today for your free custom quote. 630-876-1661.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
28 degrees at 7:29 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 30 bodies have been pulled from the Potomac River after last night's collision between a passenger plane and a military helicopter in Washington, D.C. At least one crew member from the Blackhawk helicopter has been recovered. There are no survivors.
At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident. And we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter.
D.C. Fire Chief John Donnelly says hundreds of emergency workers remain on the scene.
These responders found extremely frigid conditions. They found heavy wind. They found ice on the water, and they're operated all night in those conditions.
A temporary morgue has been set up in D.C. to receive remains. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy promised a full investigation.
I know that President Trump, his administration, the FAA, the DOT, we will not rest until we have answers for the families and for the flying public.
U.S. and Russian figure skaters are confirmed to have been on board that American Airlines flight. It's an American Airlines subsidiary flight traveling from Reagan National to Reagan National from Wichita, Kansas. Again, the Army does confirm 3 soldiers were on board that helicopter, and it was a test and training flight. Kansas Republican Senator Roger Marshall spoke with the media at Reagan International, saying one death is too much for his state.
You know, when one person dies, it's a tragedy, but when many, many, many people die, it's an unbearable sorrow. It's a heartbreak beyond measure.
Reagan National is closed until later on this morning. In other news we're following, Hamas-led militants have freed 8 hostages as part of a ceasefire deal in the Gaza Strip, but the chaotic handover of those captives drew an angry protest from Israel. Israel was supposed to release 110 Palestinian prisoners, some serving life sentences for deadly attacks against the Israelis, but they will not be released. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying the move was put on hold until exchanges can be done safely. Officials say a Russian drone has blasted a hole in an apartment building in Ukraine, killing 4. President Donald Trump says he will use the detention center at Guantanamo Bay to hold tens of thousands of criminal immigrants, a move confirmed by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth.
This is a temporary transit, which is already the mission of Naval Station Guantanamo Bay, where we can plus up thousands and tens of thousands if necessary to humanely move illegals out of our country where they do not belong back to the countries where they came from in proper process.
President Trump confirmed that act while signing the Laken-Riley Act into law, marking the first piece of legislation made by this administration. Allison Riley thanked the president.
President Trump, for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken. and he hasn't. He's a man of his word. We trust that he will fight for the American people.
The 22-year-old Georgia nursing student was killed by an illegal immigrant who had racked up a criminal history since entering the U.S. News here in Chicago we're following this morning. Mayor Brandon Johnson is under scrutiny, along with former Mayor Lori Lightfoot. They're accused of not properly reporting valuable gifts received on behalf of the city. Fired Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez back in court for a hearing about keeping a temporary restraining order in place. Martinez claims the TRO is needed for him to continue doing his job, negotiating a deal with the Chicago Teachers Union.
They will not actually sign a temporary agreement, which they used to do, because why? If the TRO is lifted, they want to go back and revisit everything. That is their strategy.
Ultimately, both sides agreed to another status hearing on February 13. And jury deliberations are underway in the Michael Madigan corruption trial. Assistant U.S. Attorney Amar Bachu saying Madigan abused the public trust. Jurors began deliberations yesterday after about 27 hours of closing arguments. Bulls lost to the Celtics. Blackhawks take on Carolina. In college hoops, Northwestern lost to Rutgers 79-72. The news, a service of Quick Delivery Service, ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's really been amazing, the amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Itching to swing that 9-iron but don't want to wait until the spring thaw? You're in luck because the Tinley Park Golf Show is here to help. Golfers of all ages and skill levels are invited to come out from January 31st to February 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center for 3 days of golfing fun, including a driving range, aisles of newly released equipment and apparel from the Chicago area's top retailers. Test your skills by competing in the Guess Your Best Drive and Longest Putt competitions, where the winners receive a $1,000 prize. We'll also have a demo area with top manufacturer representatives from Callaway, Wilson, Touredge, Cobra, Mizuno, and Cleveland. Don't forget to stop by our famous 19th Hole Bar and Lounge to catch a live telecast of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Get your tickets online today at visittinleypark.com/golf show. Again, that's visittinleypark.com/golf show.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
7:37, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Quick look at travel times. 45 minutes on the Kennedy inbound O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. It's an hour on the inbound I-390 to the old post office. And the inbound Dan Ryan is at 30 minutes, 95th. Into the circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Clouds on the increase and mild, couple of showers late this afternoon, high near 52. Partly cloudy and 29 Your next news update at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Morning Answer. I'm John Anthony. My good friend, my buddy, my pal, former ABC 7 reporter, Charles Thomas. Charles, I'm up and awake now. That coffee has kicked in, and I feel like, look, I'm fiddling with the pen over here. I'm excited. What happened? What's been happening with these confirmation hearings, Charles? In my opinion, it's just like one big high school-ish type of scenario. What's going on? Yeah, he said, she said, you are this, you are that.
Yeah, the Democrats are making a fool of themselves. Yeah. Because I think that the American public just a couple of months ago voted, and they spoke, and now they're putting on a show in Washington. But I think people are sick of it. Yeah. Because it just shows where they're really coming from. Yeah. I mean,
and you know, Charles, one of them, in my opinion, you remember I've been teasing this since the beginning of the show, but how does baby onesies play into the RFK Jr. nomination hearing?
They are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unfaxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way. Oh my God. Next one is No Vax, No Problem. Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call.
Give me my onesie, Charles. I want my onesie. Joining us to discuss this and more is Ramsey. I believe the name is Touchberry or Touchberry. He's a congressional reporter for the Washington Examiner. Ramsey, did you order your onesie?
Morning. Thanks for having me. No, unfortunately, I am a few years grown out of those.
Hey, they sell them for adults now, so we should contact the Children's Health Defense to see if they have the adults and send one to Bernie Sanders' office.
Well, if they got them that big for me, then I guess I might be able to fit into one.
When you look at this confirmation hearing with RFK Jr., he listen. There are questions. I thought he answered them. I thought at least when they allowed him to answer the questions. But do you think he gets through? And how important it is because when no one, and I've been saying this all morning, no one challenged the substantive argument of what he was discussing about the endemic, plandemic, whatever it's called. I forget it. I just had a brain freeze. But as it relates to these children and childhood obesity and all of these vaccines and all of these drugs that are on, no one challenged that. Why do you think that's so?
So he's still, his nomination is still up in the air in terms of whether he gets confirmed. There's still some key Republican holdouts like Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins. You've got Bill Cassidy. Those are three key Republicans who are viewed as swing votes on this. He did end up convincing Senator Tom Tillis yesterday, who told me after the hearing that he was a lean yes on RFK. And then, of course, you always have the wild card of Mitch McConnell, who for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ended up voting against him. And so, on RFK, Republicans can afford 3 defections. And right now, it's just going to be really, really tight. He's got another hearing today before the committee that oversees health matters. And on that committee, Bill Cassidy chairs. And then you've got Collins and Murkowski as well. So he's got, 3 of the most crucial people that he needs to sway today. And it'll be interesting to see if he does that and what sort of questions or concerns those senators are most worried about when they try to get some answers from him on certain things.
What about the chances of a recess appointment, the dynamic that takes place before that can happen? Do you think that's even possible? And is Donald Trump that committed to RFK Jr. to go that route?
Recess appointments in general are actually something that would most likely hinder his ability to get more of his nominees through. It stops, any sort of progress for more than a week, and it would sow a lot of division in the party at a critical time when you're in these first 100 days. Republicans in both chambers are trying to get stuff done, a reconciliation bill, stuff on the border, taxes, energy, and so it is something that Republican senators really do not want to do. They don't like, in general, to give up their advise and consent power, even for their own party leader like Donald Trump. And that right now, I don't think is a viable path for them to go. They're getting these nominees through fairly quickly. Thune has been pretty aggressive about it. Tonight, they're keeping the chamber in until 10 or 11, I believe, to have another vote. And so, Democrats can slow down the process, but they can't stop it unless there are the votes to, defeat these nominees. So, yeah, the recess appointment route, I just don't see as a viable one. If it would come to the case where Kennedy loses in a floor vote, I think at that point, I'm not on the White House side, so I can't, speak as firmly about what Trump would do, but he would have to reassess and potentially just go a different route entirely, or put the pressure on whichever Republican senators defected.
Yeah.
Who would be in the pipeline? I know you're not, as you say, you're not a White House guy, but who do you think? Do you have any names of who might be in the pipeline? Should RFK Jr. not be confirmed?
That's a good question because, I think a lot of these nominees came as surprises to a lot of Republican senators. RFK was sort of new for a while that he had his eyes on the health policy route, but other nominees like Attorney General, when you had Matt Gaetz crop up, that was surprising. Even Pete Hegseth, who's now been confirmed when he was initially appointed, Republican senators weren't familiar with him or knew who he was. And so it's sort of a wild card, I think. There's no suggestion that Trump even has somebody in mind right now. He, for all intents and purposes, has been committed to getting RFK through. And at this point, I don't think Trump himself would perhaps have someone at top of mind.
Yeah. Ramsey, you wrote in the Washington Examiner, RFK Jr. first hearing takeaways. Mike Pence, former Vice President Mike Pence. Oh God, I hope that never happens. Mike Pence, has led a charge against RFK Jr. because of the abortion issue. And what RFK Jr. said during the confirmation hearing, I agree with President Trump that every abortion is a tragedy. I agree with him that we cannot be a moral nation if we have 1.2 million abortions a year. Well, the reality of it is, and you had all these Democrats, coming after him saying, oh, you're just going to follow the agenda of the president. I mean, that's his job, right? To follow the agenda that President Trump lays out for the cabinet position.
Yeah, that's generally, how cabinet nominees would respond. They serve at the pleasure and the direction of the president. The abortion issue is an interesting one because Kennedy, in the past, has always been more of a pro-choice person. It's something that Democrats brought up yesterday, and they sort of, brought some cheeky sarcasm into it, saying, they're glad to see Republicans supporting such a pro-choice cabinet nominee. And so, it's an area where him and Trump have perhaps had a little bit of daylight between them, but Kennedy basically said it's up to the states, like Trump has said, and he'll follow that directive. There was another policy arena, which is climate change, where Kennedy said that he had some daylight with the president on, and so those two things, abortion and climate change, it was interesting to see a little bit of a departure between the two, but Kennedy basically saying, we'll leave it up to the states like Trump wants.
I mean, you continued in this article, you said that he fumbled on Medicare and Medicaid. How so?
Yeah, so that was actually Senator Bill Cassidy, who is a former physician, was pressing RFK on just certain things he'd like to see different in Medicare, Medicaid, or how he would handle them. And, Cassidy, again, is one of those key swing votes. So it was, notable that this was an issue he was pressing. These government-run healthcare programs cover tens of millions of Americans, so many people. And they're really convoluted programs. They have a lot of complaints about them. They're too expensive. They're not run well. They're not efficient. And as he was sort of working through the questions, RFK was mixing up some of the programs, Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare Advantage. And so there was some criticism in there, especially from, health policy industry folks, making the argument that if he doesn't know the intricacies of these different agencies and programs, how can he be expected to reform them given their just complexity and size?
Right.
So those are important areas that, important programs that I wouldn't be surprised if Collins and Murkowski press him further on today.
Yeah. I was taken aback with this exchange between Senator Warren and RFK Jr. I want to get your take after.
You financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be.
Ramsey, is that what she was doing? She basically saying you can't sue these companies?
So she was raising some financial conflicts of interest that Kennedy may have in this role. He's made millions of dollars in the past few years from contingency and referral fees to law firms who end up bringing on clients that he refers and then suing pharmaceutical companies. He has an ethics agreement with the Office of Government Ethics that basically says he will still have a 10% stake in these fees, even as HHS secretary. So what I think they sort of got lost in sort of, the back and forth there. Basically, she was trying to get at is, how are you going to handle these conflicts when, you're managing, when you could be making money, but yet you're managing sort of the policies that could affect the outcome of your financial gain.
Yeah.
And, that it is something that he has already had an agreement with the government ethics office on. We know how he would handle that because he stated in his, disclosure forms. And, that's the history of Kennedy. He is someone who has taken on, these pharmaceutical companies a lot, vaccine, drugs, et cetera. And, something he's made his name on. So, yeah, it's not something that he plans to divest himself from.
Yeah. Ramsey, just looking ahead, I think they probably saved the last two controversial confirmation picks, I think. What will we get from the Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard's nomination and confirmation hearing? You think that's going to be explosive, and do you think they both make it out?
They're both going to be contentious. These are really important national security roles, FBI director and director of national intelligence. They also have some hurdles to clear with some of these swing vote Republicans. And right now, it's just going to be another really close vote. All at once, you have these three that are some of the toughest to get through, who are working their way through the process. And so you have the potential for it to get bogged down in the next few days or, 2 weeks or so with these nominees, just depending on support and where, these Republican senators land. But yeah, I expect them to be contentious. I would get out your popcorn, so to speak, for some of these because they are likely to be entertaining. Kash Patel is someone who has been a firebrand conservative media figure in the last several years. So, he's someone who knows how to entertain.
Yeah, and they're saying that he has this hit list of people that he's coming after, and I think they're afraid because remember Chuck Schumer said, "Don't mess with the intelligence agency. They know how to, use 6 ways of Sunday." So I guess they're afraid of it coming back to haunt them with the decisions that they have allowed during their Biden administration. I do believe so, sir. I think that's what's going to happen.
That actually might be a concerning point for some of those Republican holdouts. There might be some questions about retribution, so to speak. So that there's going to be some tension there, not only with Democrats, but potentially, some of those more centrist Republicans.
Now, how do you say your last name? Is it Touchberry or Toochberry?
Touchberry, just like it looks.
All right, we got to leave it there. Ramsey Touchberry. Follow him on Twitter or X at Ramsberry1. That's Ramsberry1. He's a congressional reporter for the Washington Examiner. Thanks so much for joining us on the Morning Answer with John and Charles.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, really appreciate it. Charles, I do think the popcorn's going to be out. I know a lot of people are saying Tulsi's probably going to be the tougher one, but with Cash, allegedly having that list, I think he's going to be the guy that they're really going to come after.
Yeah, they're going to come after him. But, I find it interesting that the timing of the release of the assassinations files is happening around the same time.
Yeah.
And that I'm sure senators are getting a preview of those releases.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that might affect those hearings, both for Tulsi Gabbard and for Kash Patel.
Charles, we got to go to break, but I actually interviewed Alveda King last week. I wanted to pose that question, but I didn't want to because I didn't really know what the King family felt about that, and I didn't want to put her in that awkward position, But then she did release a letter saying that pray for our family and things of that nature. So I do think there's going to be some stuff released, especially as it relates to MLK, RFK, and JFK, that I think is going to hurt the nation. You're listening to The Morning Answer. I'm John Anthony. He's Charles Thomas. We'll be right back.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Have you seen what's been happening in the stock market lately? The market has had some rough days. And if you think those numbers don't mean anything to you and your retirement plan, think again. Can you afford to lose a big chunk of your retirement savings in a single day at this stage of your life? If you want to make sure you aren't taking on more risk than you're comfortable with, call the team at Scott Tucker Solutions now. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. Make sure you're prepared for whatever happens in the market, and if you already have a retirement plan, let's take a look to make sure you're properly diversified. Call Scott Tucker Solutions today to help make sure more bad days in the market don't disrupt your retirement plans. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world, one life at a time.
I'm 80 years old, I'm a veteran, and the reds and the greens, I really appreciate the vegan capsules from Balance of Nature. So I can definitely tell you it's all 100% positive. It really, really works.
I love the fiber and spice. I'm getting started back on the fruits and vegetables, but the fiber and spice, it's the best fiber I've ever taken in the last 20 years.
It's the best gift I've ever given myself. I just feel better. I swear it's due to Balance of Nature.
I am really, really happy with the product and couldn't say more to advise people to buy them.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
There is a place in northern Illinois that people have come from all around the globe seeking treasure.
It's amazing. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got there, I was surrounded by all kinds of gold and silver.
An actual place where you're surrounded by treasure?
I've known that gold and silver were a good investment, but I really didn't want to buy it through the mail. At Fox Valley Coins, I basically walked in, picked out what I wanted, paid cash, and walked out with gold and silver.
Walk in with paper and walk out with actual gold and silver bars. For decades, Fox Valley Coins has traded paper dollars for actual gold and silver. They buy and sell. The treasure map is available at foxvalleycoins.com. They are on Route 59, 1 light north of I-88 in Naperville, Illinois. Again, for info and the map, seek foxvalleycoins.com.
So, how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150.
No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no-interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. They found no survivors in the Potomac River and don't expect to. I'm Dave Anthony. The morning after an American Airlines regional jet about to land at the Reagan National Airport collided with the U.S. Army Blackhawk helicopter in a fiery crash that sent both into the water.
These responders found extremely frigid conditions. They found heavy wind. They found ice on the water, and they're operated all night in those conditions.
Washington, D.C. Fire Chief John Donnelly says it's gone from a rescue to recovery mission. They found one of the 3 soldiers from the helicopter, 27 of the 64 people on the plane.
The fuselage of the American Airline plane was inverted. It's been located in 3 different sections.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says it was a clear night. Both the plane and helicopter were on standard flight paths. They don't know what went wrong yet.
Sean Duffy is not saying whether communication played a factor in terms of who's communicating with what and was there miscommunication as to this plane coming in. And we do know that the helicopter pilot did know there was a plane in the area on final approach.
Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence at Reagan National Airport. American Airlines CEO Robert Isom says,
"We're absolutely heartbroken for the family and loved ones of the passengers and crew members, and also for those that were on the military aircraft."
The plane was coming in from Wichita, Kansas. Some of the passengers were from the U.S. figure skating team. In a half hour, Kash Patel goes under scrutiny. The Trump nominee to be FBI director. Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, a Republican, supports him, telling Fox,
"Only 41% of the people have confidence in the FBI, and that means that the public is irritated because the FBI has been used as a political instrument."
Tulsi Gabbard will also face tough questions at another Senate hearing as Director of National Intelligence nominee. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has a second hearing to spar senators again in line to lead Health and Human Services. America's listening to Fox News.
28 degrees and sunshine at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Brandon Johnson and former Mayor Lori Lightfoot are under stiff scrutiny this morning all over a report accusing them of not properly reporting valuable gifts. Johnson says it's not a big deal.
And we'll make sure that our team gives you the access that you need so that you can see the gifts that are given to the city, not to me.
An investigation by the city's Inspector General office claims that Johnson's office violated city ethics policy that requires mayors to record gifts above $50 in a publicly available logbook. Mayors also accused of denying access to investigators to the logbook and a city hall room where gifts are stored. Fired Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez was back in court for a hearing over keeping a temporary restraining order in place.
I don't see the probability of a strike. I really don't. I don't see it. Again, I would ask the question, what are you going to strike about?
A brief hearing was held Wednesday morning at the Daily Center. Martinez says the TRO is needed for him to do his job and believes the board and the mayor's office will not actually agree to signing it because if the TRO is lifted, they want to go back and revisit everything. That's a negotiating strategy for the CTU. Ultimately, both sides have agreed to another status hearing on February 13. An investigation is underway after an elderly man was killed in a drive-by shooting on the city's south side. James Stroud was sitting in his car in the 1400 block of West 90th when someone in another vehicle opened fire. Jury deliberations are underway in Michael Madigan's landmark corruption trial at the Dirksen Federal Building. It comes after around 27 hours of closing arguments. Bulls fell apart in the second quarter in a 122-100 loss to the Celtics at the Garden last night. While the Blackhawks get ready for the Carolina Hurricanes, Northwestern could not contain Ace Bailey. He had 37 in a Rutgers win over the Wildcats, 79-72. The News is a service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35%. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report.
American Airlines CEO Robert Isom is expressing deep sorrow and says he will be in Washington, D.C. today following the collision of American Flight 5342 and a Sikorsky helicopter. American Airlines care team has been activated. Isom says for now, American's priority is passengers, crew, and their families. Investors are looking at more earnings news this morning. Caterpillar's quarter was upbeat, though it anticipates full-year sales will be slightly lower than 2024. Southwest Airlines says its holiday season was stronger than forecast. It says travel demand remains strong. It was able to make a profit helped by lower fuel costs. UPS reported better than expected earnings, but is cautious about the year ahead. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jen Cosola, invested in you.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4 right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Jason Zenger, owner of Zenger's Industrial Supply and host of the Making Chips podcast, and a proud customer of Signature Bank. Through rapid growth, acquisitions of competitors, and taking over from the previous generation, Signature Bank was there with us every step of the way. Recently, the team introduced us to FinRails AP, their proprietary system for accounting accounts payable automation. Not only did FinRail's AP help us to reduce costs and create efficiencies, but it also helped minimize fraud risk. Now, our company can invest time into what we do best, supplying industrial products, metalworking tooling, contractor tools, and safety supplies to those who make, build, and create great things for our country.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected! Also, you forgot to renew your website domain and now you're in a bidding war!
You should see the look on your face. At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room and now everything smells weird!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
It's 8:09. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. Learn more and check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. Kennedy inbound 52, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike right now running at about an hour 10, 390 to the old post office. Dan Ryan 35, 95th into the Circle. DuSable Lakeshore Drive solid, jammed up northbound Foster all the way up to Hollywood. And delays in Des Plaines. You've got road closures there due to a broken water main on Lee Street southbound just after Perry. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Increasing cloudiness, couple of showers around late this afternoon. A milder air increasing the risk of some ice jams on area rivers throughout early next week. High today 52, rain tonight low 38. Rain and breezy tomorrow, the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
29 at O'Hare, 32 Midway, 26 in Aurora, and your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning in my Dan Prof. I don't do it as good as Dan Prof. I'm not as smart as he is. Sorry about that, Justin. I shifted on you. In studio with my good friend, my brother, my pal, former ABC 7 reporter Charles Thomas. Charles, you know, when you look at this deportation that's happening, everything that's going on with Tom Homan, I just saw a breaking news that there were 2 undocumented migrants. They're not in custody yet. I think they're soon to be in custody. They restrained the person with duct tape and electrical cord, and a guy from Norwood Park is now dead. When you think about just how this city of Chicago is not working with this with the Trump administration, with Tom Homan. Tom Homan had this to say about how he's upset with the pace of the deportation, and he talks about why.
Are you satisfied, Tom Homan, with the pace of migrant deportations?
No, we got to do more. We got to open that aperture up, which we're going to do. It was a great start. The first week was unprecedented. I mean, the illegal crossings on the border one day was like 540. I've never seen that, and I started on Border Patrol in 1984, and we went from 10,000 a day to under 600. So it's great, it's good, but we're not finished, and we need more deportations, a lot more deportations, and that's what we're working on.
What's your biggest challenge that's holding you back from capturing and deporting more criminal migrants?
Sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are difficult to operate in. You know, we'd much rather arrest one agent can arrest one bad guy in a jail in 10 minutes. But when they release him back in the community, we got to send a whole team to find him. And someone that don't want to be found. And it's unsafe for the community because you're putting a public safety threat back into the public.
Joining us to discuss this is a good friend of the show, Alderman Ray Lopez from the 15th Ward. Alderman Lopez, you heard what the borders are, Tom Homan, and I know you have been in contact with him. You've been working with him. This guy, George Levine, he's alive if this city and this governor would work with Tom Homan to keep people like this off the street, correct?
Good morning, gentlemen. Yes, I think that this is another example, as we've seen time and time again in this country, where you have a certain number of dangerous criminal individuals who are allowed to move freely throughout the country and are setting up shop in cities like Chicago and are protected and shielded by our political sympathies and wanting to be a true, unmitigated, welcoming city. And what that allows for is individuals to know that they could commit crime with impunity and never be turned in, never be deported, and never be held accountable for their actions.
Yeah. And you know, Alderman, you tweeted out that story from CWB. I mean, the 16th and 17th District Chicago Police Scanner, and there's another story you tweeted out about, and the story was about New York, Tren de Agua, or however you say it. Why are we trying to pretend as if this is a very violent gang? They've taken over neighborhoods, they've taken over apartment buildings in places around the country. Why protect people like this?
I mean, let's really call them what they are. You know, in Chicago, we think of gangs as the guys hanging out on the block throwing up gang signs. These individuals are borderline cartel members. They are oftentimes military trained because, especially in countries like Venezuela, military service is compulsory. So they are trained as military individuals at a young age, and they are banding together in our cities. And many of my liberal colleagues and progressive colleagues want to continue this fanciful image of the immigrant with being a husband and a wife and a baby in a backpack running to America for a better life. And unfortunately, that's just not the overall image for everybody. That may be true of about 98% of immigrants overall, undocumented or otherwise. But there's a 2 to 3% of that population that is criminal, that is dangerous. And we've seen that play out in New York, in Denver, in Chicago here most definitely, and cities all across this city and all across this country. And we don't even have to pretend like it's not true, because we've seen, especially in L.A., when asylum was given in the late 80s and 90s to folks, to Venezuelan and South American migration, that's the origins of the MS-13 gang that has terrorized L.A. for decades. So we know how this story is going to play out, but everyone has this fanciful image that they're trying to maintain, and you have a mayor in the city of Chicago right now who is completely disconnected from reality, who thinks that somehow standing up against Trump in this effort to go after these individuals is the sword he wants to die on. maybe he should be more concerned about the fact that this little number slipped last week that nobody really went with, which is that CPD and ICE confirmed that there are over 2,000 criminal migrant high-priority targets for ICE because they are dangerous and criminal in their behavior. 2,000 individuals. And that list was because the Biden-Harris administration knew who they were, knew what their crimes were, knew how dangerous they were to our national security and to our communities, and let them come to Chicago anyway. And never allowed ICE to go after these individuals, didn't tell CPD about these individuals, and force them to come and live amongst us in our communities. And that's why we're seeing what we saw unfold in Norwood and other locations where now they are acting out because they know that their time is up.
Alderman, this is Charles Thomas. How do individual police officers handle this? Have you heard of any of them dropping a dime to inform ICE about what's going on the street so that ICE can do its job, or are they on board with this whole sanctuary city ideology program, whatever you want to call it?
Well, Charles, I don't think that they're on board, and most law enforcement officers, especially in Chicago that I speak to, aren't on board with this. But they are going to follow the law, and they are going to do what municipal code requires them to do, and they're going to do it with a little bit of resentment, knowing that they have the opportunity to remove a threat but can't do anything about it. Our officers oftentimes have arrested many of these same high-priority targets that Tom Homan is looking for. And if we were able to coordinate or even just run their name against the ICE database and let them know that we have them, these high-priority dangerous individuals would be removed from our communities immediately.
Wow.
Full stop. However, they also know that in this administration and in this environment, they will likely lose their career, lose their health insurance, lose their pension, lose their whole life if they were to ever try to violate that. So they're not going to do that. And I don't know of any stories where they have.
So what about Larry Snelling leadership at this point? Is he just caught in the middle, or is he just...
I think our entire police department, from Snelling on to the POs on the street, are caught in the middle, as you say, because they know who these individuals are. A friend of mine, Terry Newsom, who you may know, did a FOIA on many of the migrant shelters and uncovered that in many locations, including the shelter like the one that I had in Gage Park, in the shelter in the Chicago or the Standard Club by the Harold Washington Library, you had 20 pages of dangerous arrests in a 1-year period.
Wow.
Drug, sexual predation, things of that nature, prostitution. All of these things, if we had amended the Welcoming City Ordinance or left in the carve-outs that were previously there, we would have been able to let ICE know that these individuals were there and to allow them to come deal with them for their actions.
Yeah.
But instead, we have to arrest them, release them per the Safety Act, because drug use or gang stuff or gang-related or prostitution is not considered a detainable offense anymore, and put them back in the communities. So we have the Trust Act working against us, the Safety Act working against us, and then you have the Welcoming City Ordinance working against everyday good people.
Yeah, Alderman, I don't know. Has the sanctuary city status ever been challenged constitutionally? And have you thought about, as a private citizen, challenging the status of it to protect the rest of Chicago and the state?
I don't know if anyone has ever filed a lawsuit. And I think personally, this might be one of those areas where I disagree with maybe the overall concept with some of your listeners. But I believe that we can be welcoming to individuals because, to be perfectly honest, in the city of Chicago, especially seeing how dysfunctional the federal government has been since the late 1980s when amnesty was given, I don't want to be in the business of trying to figure out how people got to the city of Chicago. That's not my job. But I definitely am in the business of making sure that you act right once you're here.
Right.
So letting individuals in every community know that regardless of your status, we will be here to help you as a city is one thing. And that's also in the Welcoming City. And I think that should remain. But I think that if you choose to engage in dangerous criminal behavior, then you got to go.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you're arrested for it or convicted, then I should be able to let ICE know that we caught you.
Yeah.
There seems to be where the disagreement is with some of my colleagues, because should you wait till they're convicted or should you other things? And we're going to have that debate. But I think at the end of the day, to just say that we're going to welcome everybody, even if you're a murderer, child rapist, or a human trafficker, doesn't make sense to anyone, and it needs to be amended immediately.
Well, the mayor has been called to Congress. I don't believe they compelled him to come. I don't believe it was a subpoena. It was just a request to come. What do you think? And I'm shocked that he hasn't taken full advantage to go out there to give his perspective of what's happening in Chicago. You think he goes?
I think eventually he is going to go. He likes playing these games of chicken, but if you look in his interviews, that man's got to be changing his drawers every hour on the hour when he has these interviews.
He's
because
sweating.
He's sweating. He's doing something. But Congress is not going to take his actions and his arrogance lightly. And he can try to deflect from here and word salad his way out of a better, safer, stronger Chicago and bring up the Confederacy and colonizers and the Civil War and everything else under the sun that he wants to talk about. They're not going to want to hear that. But they're going to want to know answers. And especially now under the cloud of what we've heard about the 63-year-old man who was bound to a chair, beaten, and killed.
Yeah.
That's Lincoln Riley number 2.
Yes.
For Illinois.
Yeah.
In his city, while he's trying to defend why they should not go.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to have to answer for why he refuses to address this issue. And I think there's going to be some other bombshells coming out shortly.
Yeah.
With everything that we're doing for the migrants, where the $624 million disappeared to that no one ever wants to talk about. Because that's also what they want to know. What have you spent? Who are you giving it to? Why are you doing it? So
yeah. Well, Alderman Ray Lopez, we got to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us on Chicago's Morning Answer. I really appreciate it. I'm going to give you a call because I would love to have you come on my Detroit's Morning Answer show to discuss what's happening in Chicago, too. That work for you?
We will do it live from the mayor's gift room.
Alderman Ray Lopez,
cool.
15th Ward Alderman, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with John and Tom.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be... Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and healthcare, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
For over 100 years, St. Andrew's Lutheran School in the heart of Park Ridge has been dedicated to education excellence, spiritual growth, and service to the community. Parents continue to express their gratitude to the school for all it has to offer their children.
My second child just graduated from St. Andrew's Lutheran School in Park Ridge. Not only did both place into advanced classes in high school, but St. Andrew's teachers have enabled me to achieve my most important goal as a parent, to be confident that they know their Savior and that they'll be with me in heaven someday.
From kindergarten through 8th grade, your child will learn in a Christ-centered, individualized, nurturing environment. Take a tour, visit with faculty, and register for the upcoming school year on Sunday, January 26th from noon to 2. For details, visit St. Andrew's Lutheran School in Park Ridge online at standrewspr.org. Provide your child with the gift of a Christ-centered St. Andrew's education. Find out more today at standrewspr.org.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Donald Trump is barely over a week into his presidency and is taking flack from the commentariat over his statements about Egypt and Jordan taking in displaced Arabs from Gaza and about releasing arms to Israel it paid for. Some have claimed he's pouring fuel on the fires of the wars he was expected to quell. This is all wrong. When Trump put maximum pressure on Iran and made clear the U.S. would stand with Israel in his first term, there was peace. It was Biden's presidency that gave militancy its gas and green light. By softening on and enriching Iran, by expressing weakness toward Russia, through callousness toward Americans being killed in Afghanistan and allowing the Taliban to take it over, and finally, by sending mixed messages regarding the U.S. and our relationship with Israel. Strongly siding with allies like Israel and pressuring those who have long lived in the shadows of safe harbors for militancy like Egypt and Jordan is a big difference from the last 4 years. And it was the last 4 years that brought war. I'm Seth Leibson.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 8:35, the Rumble in the Jungle. Thornton Township fight. Charles and I will discuss that and more. Now into the newsroom with Mike Scott.
30 degrees at 8:29. Officials say they now do not expect any survivors to be found in last night's collision involving an American Airlines regional jet and an Army Blackhawk helicopter. This morning, Washington, D.C. Fire Chief John Tinley says so far dozens of bodies have been recovered.
We will continue to work to find all the bodies and collect them and reunite them with their loved ones.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy told that same briefing that, to the best of his knowledge, before the collision, nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
We see military helicopters fly up and down the river. It's a standard path that they fly. They're used to aircraft landing at DCA, and there's a procedure in place because this happens every day. Something went wrong here.
Duffy says the pilots were in contact with air traffic control.
So there was not a breakdown, if that's your question, in communication between the military helicopter and the American airline flight. There was communication between the aircraft and the tower.
American Airlines CEO Robert Isom said at that same briefing the crew was seasoned, and to him, nothing appeared out of the ordinary.
These are experienced pilots. I know that the captain had 6 years with PSA, or almost 6 years with PSA, and the first officer almost 2 years. Again, standard approach.
The crash happened last night as the regional jet was approaching Reagan National. More confirmation hearings for President Trump's cabinet picks. Kash Patel will go to Capitol Hill and meet with senators. After he was selected to lead the FBI, Tulsi Gabbard will be grilled in her effort to become DNI. Meantime, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will take part in a second confirmation hearing after facing questions yesterday in a bid to become Secretary of Health and Human Services.
I will do nothing as HHS Secretary that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking either of those
Anybody
vaccines.
who believes that ought to look at the measles book you wrote saying parents have been misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease. That's not true.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Oregon Senator Ron Wyden going back and forth over vaccines yesterday. Here in Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson is under scrutiny, along with former Mayor Lori Lightfoot, over a report accusing them of not properly reporting valuable gifts. Johnson yesterday reacting that he did receive gifts on behalf of the city, not himself.
And we'll make sure that our team gives you the access that you need so that you can see the gifts that are given to the city, not to me.
The mayor's also accused of denying access to investigators at a city hall room where gifts were stored. Fired Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez back in court for a hearing about keeping a temporary restraining order in place and him on the job negotiating with the Chicago Teachers Union. CTU head Stacey Davis Gates said later in the day she wants new leadership to counter what she believes are disastrous changes coming from Washington.
All of the freak show circus that is coming from D.C. has impact in our classrooms. I need a leader on the other side of the table to come to conclusions that help stabilize our school communities, especially in a time of complete chaos.
Jury deliberations are underway in Michael Madigan's landmark corruption trial at the Dirksen Federal Building. 2 are wounded following a shooting at a cemetery in Evergreen Park yesterday. 1 person has been taken into custody. And Indiana Governor Mike Braun delivers his first State of the State address to a joint session. He wants to cap annual increases for taxes and boost retention and recruitment for the Indiana State Police. Bulls lost to the Celtics. Blackhawks take on Carolina. The news, a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP, you could save 90% off on average. Learn more. Check if you qualify. Almostfreeteeth.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk can see something different about Trump.
One word would describe President Donald Trump. One word: ready. This man is ready. He has a stoicism to him that we have not seen in his 8 years of the presidency. He has a centeredness to him, a purpose, a clarity of thought, a complete command of the room.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com. Pragertopia.com.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit FVGradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-208-0414. 800-208-0414. Your You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-208-0414, 800-208-0414, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
8:36. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Check Allstate for that quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Bensonville accident, Grandin, York. West side of Chicago, Wilcox and Pulaski. Chicago fire on the scene of a blaze this morning. Lake Forest report of an accident, US 41 southbound right at Kennedy, that's Route 60. LaGrange report of an accident, Ogden and LaGrange Road. We're watching DuSable Lakeshore Drive jam up northbound Foster up through Hollywood, and the Dan Ryan climb back up to 30 minutes, 95th into the circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Clouds, mild, couple of afternoon showers, high 52. Currently 31. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to Chicago's Morning Answer. I'm John Anthony. He's Charles Thomas. Charles, it's being reported that some U.S. figure skating members were on that flight, that American Airlines flight that went down. I believe it was late last night.
Yeah.
Man, that hurts.
No survivors.
None at all?
Survivors. Well, I'm not hearing. I've seen a couple of headlines. No survivors expected after mid-air collision in D.C. I'm watching the monitor. That's CNN?
Yeah.
No, that's Fox News.
Wow. That's
no survivors.
That's heartbreaking, brother. So, Charles, guess what? The Rumble in Dalton, or what is it called?
Thornton Township. That's would be in
Breaking
South
tonight in the south suburbs, a fight breaks out at the Thornton Township meeting during public comments.
WGN's Courtney Spinelli in South Holland now to show us what happened. Courtney.
Micah and Ray, this meeting was feisty from the very start, but things turned violent during that public comment when a brawl unfolded, putting an end to all of this as it spilled out into the parking lot and left people running out of the building. A board meeting turned brawl, prompting a police response and the meeting to end abruptly. Township Supervisor Tiffany Hengard right there in the middle of it. Fists went flying after a man known for speaking out against Hengard made his feelings clear once again, but he wasn't the only one with something to say.
Are you always trying to call somebody else out? We're calling you out. William, you're out of here, okay? You're out of here. You don't even live in the township.
Two Hengard allies that work for the township, including her boyfriend Kamal Woods and confidant William Moore, now on paid administrative leave after a board vote.
Charles, I mean, this was literally a fist fight, and the Dalton mayor and former township supervisor was right in the midst of this.
Yeah, but, she's the Thornton Township supervisor.
Former,
but
right?
No.
Okay.
You mean Tiffany Hengard?
Yeah.
No, she is the current
correct
Thornton Township supervisor, but she doubles as the mayor of the village of Dalton.
Yeah.
So she is, and she has a huge controversy in Dalton because she she misspent allegedly $170,000, I think, dollars on trips and Amazon purchases. And Lori Lightfoot investigated her, the former mayor of Chicago, investigated her, and she issued a report just a few days before the brawl at the township meeting. She doubles as the township supervisor. Again, she's the mayor of Dalton, doubling as the township supervisor.
She can't run again because she's going to run as a write-in for the upcoming consolidated election. That's what it was. That's because is Napoleon Harris going to be?
Well, Napoleon Harris
on the ballot.
Is the committee
Senator.
man.
Yeah.
He is the Democratic Party committee man. And let's let the audience know what Thornton Township is.
Yeah.
In Democratic Party circles in Cook County, Thornton Township has more Democrat voters than any township in Cook County, any ward in the city of Chicago. It is the heart of the Democratic Party's power in this region. Thornton Township, it's predominantly black, and this is where they get 95, 96, 97% of the vote.
So you're basically saying you win Thornton Township, you win Cook County.
Well, there you got you go a long way toward it. And whenever the Democrats have to make a decision as a party, say to replace a candidate or something like that, everybody wants Thornton Township involved because they have the most weight. That committee person has the most weight among all the Democrats in Cook County, and that means has the most weight of any Democratic committee man in the state of Illinois.
So you're saying, what was his name, Frank Zuccarelli?
Frank Zuccarelli, the late Frank Zuccarelli, was the former committee man and supervisor.
Yeah.
Now, Tiffany Henyard is not the committee person.
Yeah.
That's Napoleon Harris, who is a state senator.
Correct.
But she is the Thornton Township supervisor. So that's the backdrop.
Yeah, but Charles, when you look at what has happened, what led up to this was the inevitable outcome, right? That something like this was going to happen at some point because there was just so much meanness and vitriolic hate towards her.
Yeah, but to me, yeah, and it's small village, local, ultra hyper local politics. But what I see,
hold on. It might be small village, but from what you just previously said, this is also a very powerful position.
What, the committee man? But she's not the committee person.
Right.
She is the supervisor.
Right.
Napoleon Harris is the committee man now. She did not inherit the committee man or woman position with the party. She is the supervisor. But this story, by the way, has gone national. It's viral.
Yeah.
People all over the country are watching
It's international,
this.
actually.
Yeah. They're watching this, and they're saying, wow, what a crazy bunch of people. To put it mildly, they're going nuts. They can't govern themselves. What's going on? That's total chaos. But it raises the question, and I'm going to get in big trouble for this.
Well, go ahead.
Particularly saying it here. But anyway, the black political movement in America has been commandeered by women, females, all over the country. And Tiffany Henyard has become sort of a poster child for what some people might not like about what I just said about black women taking over the lead in the black political movement. And I can go down a list. I can be national to the local.
Yeah.
How many black women are now leading the black political movement, if you will?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris.
Okay.
Of
The
course,
squad.
we know about Kamala and what she represented and how the nation rebuked her. Michelle Obama, who was involved in this controversy, not going to Jimmy Carter's funeral, not going to the inauguration, looking like she can really go low, not really being the model of whatever. Karen Bass, whose city's on fire.
Yep.
London Breed of San Francisco, who was ousted as mayor of San Francisco. Cori Bush, who lost her primary. Maxine Waters, who and on the fade right now, but Maxine made a lot of noise.
Oh, she'll be back.
Yeah, but she made so much. She raised so much controversy during the first Trump term. How about down in Georgia, Fonnie Willis?
Yeah.
And all that. That was a outrageous situation. Letitia James, bringing up the cases against the case against Donald Trump. Letitia James, Stacey Abrams. Remember Stacey?
Wait. So there was just an incident between her and Angie Stanton, who Trump let out.
Oh, really?
They were on the plane, and Angie Stanton said, "We don't have to let all our black babies go to the abortion mill."
And I'm just naming a few of these. These are all names of the new black political leadership in America. And here locally, we have Tony Preckwinkle, Lori Lightfoot, who lost her reelection bid. How about Kim Foxx and the controversy that surrounded Kim Foxx? Stacey Davis Gates, who I call the shadow mayor.
You think she's going to run for something?
I don't think so now, because I think Brandon has so tarnished her legacy or her image. Keep in mind that Tony Preckwinkle sponsored Brandon Johnson to become a Cook County commissioner, and Stacey Gates was the power behind him in his run for mayor. Remember, in Chicago, it's not necessarily who you are, it's who sent you. And Tony Preckwinkle and Stacey Davis Gates sent you Brandon Johnson. And you see what Brandon Johnson with the 15% approval rating. And last but not least, there's Tiffany Henyard, who is causing all of this controversy in Dalton and the south suburbs. And, black women have just taken such a hit. They have engineered this incredible train wreck on the black political scene in this country.
How dare you leave Lori Lightfoot off that list?
I didn't. I put Lori.
You said her
in there.
name?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's so many of them. You get them. You get them.
Yeah, that was. You went down the whole list.
Name after name after name, and people tell you, if you're listening and you got a good positive story to tell about a black female leader, come tell it to me.
Yeah,
I want to hear it.
You sound like
we need
Valon.
to hear it.
You sound. That's one Valon, who used to fill in with me on Black and White Radio. That's his line right there. Let's go to the phone lines, Charles. Let's go to Glenn from Orlando. Welcome to Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I just in terms of black female leaders, Condoleezza Rice. There's multiple ones that are very good. Condoleezza Rice comes to mind
Winsome
right away.
Sears in Virginia.
But Winsome Sears, very good, very good. And anyway, I wanted to make a comment about Dalton and what's going on. The governor and the attorney general of Illinois are sworn to uphold the law. Well, how come they're not getting involved with this situation down there?
Well,
especially the attorney general, Raul. Now, I don't have any stake in Illinois anymore, but to me, it's like the attorney general should be right there.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Charles.
Well, I think that black.
I'm sure they're monitoring it.
I think male black political leaders have been emasculated. I don't think they really. I mean, John Stroger, the late John Stroger, was a friend of mine.
Yeah,
fraternity brother, friend of mine, and he would never allow this to happen.
No.
He would go down there and say, "Whoa, what is going on?" He would have the pressure on all of these people.
Yeah,
there wouldn't be this kind of episode at a public government meeting.
Neither one of the dailies either.
Yeah, well, but I'm talking about black folks.
Oh, black folks.
Taking care of black folks.
Okay.
And saying, wait a minute, what's going on? Harold Washington would not allow this to happen. And it seems as though there is this catfighting, this plain silliness and inability to, what does Trump say, make a deal or whatever?
Yeah.
Man to man, let's talk about it. What's going on? It's this constant fighting and quarreling that's going on. And I'm telling you, people are getting sick of it. And the rest of the country, the rest of the world is watching it, saying those people cannot govern themselves. Yeah. And that's an absolute lie because we've been doing it.
Good point. Let's go back to the phone lines. Jim from South Elgin. Welcome to Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, two of my favorite guys. Good topic.
Thank you.
There is a disturbing trend in these law schools because a lot of them have become very Marxist. Like if a conservative, judge wants to come and speak, they have these protests against them, and this is a bad trend. And that's why I think it's good that Trump got elected, and hopefully they'll get some more common sense in some of these positions as far as the leading by example and showing how things should be done versus how things are being done now.
Yeah, good point, Jim. Thanks so much for calling us, Jim. Let's go to Ron on the south side. Charles, Ron agrees with you.
Hey, and look here, like the last call, definitely two of my favorite people. Charles.
Ron, how you doing this
Charles? Oh, man, I'm still kind of celebrating.
I'm with you, brother. Hey, Ron, before you make your comment, I have been trying with everything in me not to rub this in with Trump, with everything he endured and he won. I've been doing my best not to rub it in, but but some people just make me want to do it.
Well, not me. I've been trying harder. I've been rubbing it in hard. Because look here. And Charles know on up the dial, I took heat. They about to start looking for me. but I'm like, y'all know where I'm at. But yeah, no, man. So, but look here, just want to commend you for telling the truth. That is what's going on out there is an embarrassment. They look like idiots. I'm just gonna call it like it is, man. That is very just disrespectful. So, and on all the other ones you named, you hit it right on. Then one of you all say, well, is it, maybe a black woman who's doing it? There are none. I was sitting here thinking about it when you raised the question. But again, keep up the good work. And look here, y'all keep celebrating, and it's always a
Ron,
talking to
Ron, hold on. Before you go though, I think though what initiated this attack was this activist calling her, it sounds like he called her the B word, right. And her boyfriend or fiance, whatever he is. Imagine you're sitting there. You have to. Mace Jackson made a good point about this though on his Facebook. Imagine, your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, and somebody walks up to her and walks towards her and uses an expletive like that towards her. What would you do?
But you know what? And him calling her, and it's not just the women out there.
Yeah.
She's the face of it. But that idiot, you don't do that. And look, you can disagree with her. You all can get out of the office. I don't agree with calling anybody
right
a B out of their name. So I can understand that response. But the whole thing out there is garbage. Yeah. It's the men and the women. That whole thing, guys. Yeah. Okay, you all have a wonderful day. Always a pleasure.
All right.
But
the emotions, right? Emotional.
But John, when you don't have the man in the house to keep order.
Yeah.
When you don't have the man, and you can go micro with this in a family situation where you don't have a man, a father there, to keep order, to make sure order is maintained. You get this.
That's true.
And I think what happened, this is a macro situation here, where you got people acting like children and nobody who takes control. Like I said earlier, John Stroger would not allow this to happen. I don't know why Tony Preckwinkle hasn't stepped in down there to take control.
That's a great question. That's a really great question. Let's go back to the phone lines. Mark from Chicago. Make it quick.
Hey, it's Mark Weimler.
Oh, you on the Chipmunk line, brother. I'm so sorry you got to call back, Mark. Let's go to Cynthia from Woodstock. Welcome to Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Cynthia.
Thank you for taking my call.
How are you?
How are you doing? I'm
all right,
doing
you got
great.
about 40 seconds. Go ahead.
All right. Whatever happened to Diamond and Silk? I think they need to come to Chicago. I know one of them passed away.
Yeah. They have been here. I think they were here a year or 2 years ago. They were here.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering what happened to the one gal that was left.
Yeah.
Is she still out there?
Oh, yeah. She's still on social medias and giving her commentary. So, Cynthia, thanks so much for calling. We got to go to break. Charles, I think you hit it on the head as it relates, especially the emasculating of black men.
Right.
And because now that's why black men are so emotional.
Yeah.
And they make these like emotional responses.
Excuse me. But they're emotional. They were with their feelings.
Yeah.
You disrespected me. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
John and Charles, Chicago's Morning Answer.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Wow. Are you buying or are you selling? As this is being written, silver is up more than 50% in just the past 8 months. And gold is the highest it's ever been. Whether you are just getting into the metals, want to roll your IRA into silver or gold, or want to take some profits off the table, Fox Valley Coins is ready, willing, and able to help. Even though Fox Valley Coins is a national dealer, they're family-owned and in your own backyard. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville almost always has the product you want in stock and pretty much always has the best pricing when you buy or sell. Buying or selling is easy. Bring your items in. We'll establish the price and pay you cash or check on the spot. Why wait to move your assets around? Did you know that Fox Valley Coins has sold over 3,000 one-ounce silver Donald Trump coins? We have several designs, but they're going fast. Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Jason Zenger, owner of Zenger's Industrial Supply and host of the Making Chips podcast, and a proud customer of Signature Bank. Through rapid growth, acquisitions of competitors, and taking over from the previous generation, Signature Bank was there with us every step of the way. Recently, the team introduced us to FinRails AP, their proprietary system for accounts payable automation. Not only did FinRails AP help us to reduce costs and create efficiencies, but it also helped minimize fraud risk. Now, our company can invest time into what we do best, supplying industrial products, metalworking tooling, contractor tools, and safety supplies to those who make, build, and create great things for our country.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, guys. We did a heavy lift today. Justin, Quinn, Eric, Josh, Evan. We did 2 shows. Detroit's Morning Answer and Chicago's Morning Answer. You guys were none the wiser. I want to thank you guys for making me get through this day. Charles, thank you so much.
Hey, man, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This was always fun.
Yeah, and you can listen. You can tune in to Detroit's Morning Answer at theanswerdetroit.com. We'll be streaming coming up soon. I'm just so grateful. We did it, and I'm happy. Now on to the newsroom, to Mike Scott.
Mayor Johnson accused of improperly reporting gifts. Jury deliberations continue.